Back to the practice field today for the Buffalo Bills, and right away got some pretty good injury news as C.J. Gardner-Johnson was back and a full participant as he continues to recover from what is thought to be a calf injury he suffered on Saturday. Following practice, we did hear from Gardner-Johnson, who spoke with the media, and he got pretty fiery when asked about his former team, the Houston Texans, who the Bills are playing come Week 1.
They released me because I wasn't gelling with the team and I didn't fit well. After the loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we was already starting 0-3, so how can it possibly be on one person?
Deion Walker was also out there today wearing a new elbow brace, and we'll get more on today when Sal Capaccio joins the show later on. And coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car & Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million. There is football tonight. It is the Hall of Fame game. Kickoff at 8 p.m. between the Panthers and the Cardinals. Kenny Pickett and Carson Beck are the starting quarterbacks for tonight. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, 2-year deal, $44 million extension. And the Texans, they signed linebacker Henry To'o to a 2-year, $16 million extension. Then over to baseball. Bison's getting going a little bit later on tonight. They are home against Norfolk at 6:35. And then some early afternoon baseball today. The Mets are up 6-5 on Cleveland. That one is in the 6th. And then the Blue Jays, they're at the Cubs. Toronto leads that one 1-0 in the 3rd. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't love junior mints. I just don't hate them. I don't understand why they are treated like second-class candy.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Oh,
there's a
you don't
fantasy
understand why a
team
candy that is basically toothpaste wrapped up in stale chocolate is treated like a second-class candy. All right, I get it. It's a good, valid question.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Is there a time to change? You know, the 3 teams I've drafted this year, second-class candy is pretty good.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
This is fun when this happens, or funny, or both. But just, in my usual way, thinking about the show, ideas, topics, for some reason, I thought of asking you if you would take a first-round playoff game between the Bills and New England, and the Bills are home as the 3 seed, and New England is the 6. But before I even ask you that, or had a chance to ask you that on the air, here comes USA Today's projections, which should be called predictions, like the records.
Mm-hmm.
Record projections? Is every prediction a projection now?
Projection to me implies that you've run some number of thousands of simulations.
They may have.
Predictions is just
one person,
kind of what we what we might do. At least I'm assuming you're not running thousands of simulations before we might predict something.
Sometimes.
Just talking. That looks like a 10-win team to me. I don't know, but I think a projection implies work. That you had a computer do a bunch of work. I think
right.
That's how I take projection.
So what do you know? The Bills are the 3 and the Patriots are the 6. 11-6, 10-7. So you want to guess the rest? It's projections, not a prediction. So it may be easier to predict a projection.
I'm gonna guess that they've got Houston above. Houston's the 2 or the 1. I'm trying to sort of think this out here.
Okay.
I think Houston is above the Bills, and I will say Denver.
That's right.
So Denver's the 1, Houston's the 2, is what I want to say.
Which I don't mind if we just spend a good chunk of time on those 2 teams. And I've wanted to take Denver under the hood all week. Because here they are in first in the reverse AFC, the hallowed reverse AFC power rankings. 3rd week in a row, number 1. Does that hold water? Should Denver is Denver like a deserving number 1? They were number 1 last year.
Yeah.
So maybe that means necessarily they are.
I don't think that necessarily means they are, but they haven't. I don't think they've lost much. They've added Waddle. Knicks with another year in the system. They've gotten a lot of credit for like having a fantastic roster. And their stability there. The defense is still the same, right? I mean, Jim Leonard left, but he wasn't their coordinator. That's Vance Joseph, I think, right? So another year with a lot of the same personnel, familiarity in the system. Like I don't think it's nuts. Like to me, it's not. I don't think they're number one because they were one last year. I think they have an excellent roster, and there's a lot of continuity there. So, and Waddle should be something that can help them pop even more in their passing game.
He's limping though.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, 4 or 5 days. I don't know. That's what I heard Sean Payton say. So, I'm not offended that
he's often limping.
They're projected at 1 to me.
They're 2 on this.
Oh, they are. Okay,
Houston is 1.
Okay, Houston's 1. All right, I think that's ridiculous.
Aaron Schatz says
I know.
Houston is 1.
I know.
I mean, he says they're the best team.
Yeah. Yeah, and the defense is irrefutably, to me, fantastic. You know, if it can't be trusted because defense can't be trusted, you just mentioned Aaron Schatz year over year. I mean, the personnel is ridiculous. They've got top shelf personnel at all layers of that defense, including 2, like maybe the best pair of edge rushers in the game.
So this one is Houston 1, which means a bye week.
Mm-hmm.
Denver 2 against the 7 Baltimore. Buffalo 3 against the 6 New England. Cincinnati 4 against the 5 Kansas City. I mean, it looks pretty good on paper. Every one of those games is hot.
Yeah.
Projections, to your earlier analysis of the word, projections is, if you're right, and I think you very well are, then you're not just one person's galaxy brain.
Right.
The Browns are 12-5. No, this is
right.
A group, a staff, maybe pooling their predictions and then running an algorithm or something as this falls to the ground. Lovely.
Yeah. That's what I would hope using projection instead of predictions would mean.
So nothing stupid happens with projections.
Right.
So how does this sound?
I mean, it doesn't sound great, but it sounds pretty great. If that you
wouldn't take it?
I think I would.
You would take it?
I think I would. Yeah.
Would you take 11-6 and the 3 seed?
Does
it matter who you're playing?
Not really. I don't remember why this would have come up. I feel like someone was in the room with me, but it wasn't you. And or maybe it was just I was just talking to myself one day that you were away, and I sort of stumbled into, I think I have to say yes to 11-6.
11-6.
A few things. Let me just unpack a couple things quickly. I've said for years now, 12-5 is a great year. You've had a great year if you go 12-5. So 11-6 is not 12-5. It's not undeniably a great year. But in a year where you have had the changeover you've had, head coach, defense, personnel, we'll see what that is going to be, the schedule, all of it, I'm a little uneasy about, just assuming everything goes, like it has for the last 9 years. I think changing the head coach can be a big deal, and the defensive scheme maybe even a bigger deal than the head coach. I've never thought that the bottom was going to fall out, but I feel like I would have, given that's sort of my mood, my mindset going in is sort of not just assuming, I'm not thinking about the 1 seed. And it doesn't mean they can't achieve it. But I just think it's a heavy lift with all that new stuff. The conference is stronger than maybe it's been the whole time since the Bills have been contenders. We were talking again yesterday or the day before with someone, and you made the point that that's been made numerous times. It's not just the 3 teams at the top anymore. We were talking about reverse AFC power rankings maybe with Will Graves. it came up, and how you get to like 9 and it's just kind of throwing darts. And it hasn't been like that the previous 5 years or so. So I think that means like maybe 11-6 is a really good job. I mean, you're not playing the entire conference. I know that's not how it works, but I just think the competition is going to be stiffer. And so I think if I win the division and end up the 3, I mean, to me, as much as having the 1, the benefit of the rest and not having to expose yourself to injuries and stuff, and that has done the Bills in, it's been a part of what's done them in maybe many of these years. I think I would still take it. I think I would say I'm months away from finding out, and I know what I'm giving up, which is the 1. I think I would take 11-6. I win the division. I don't have to sweat the playoffs maybe as much. I mean, it doesn't sound like we're running away with it at 11-6. It's going to be competitive down to the wire probably with New England. But if I'm coming out on top there, I think I would take it.
I don't think one has to say yes to that deal, to that offer, but I think it's reasonable to do so. And I'm thinking about all the different times, and every time I think of it or refer to it, I feel a little bit like I'm copping out, or it might sound like I am, and I really don't mean to be, but that the whole thing comes down to those moments in the playoffs, unless, I might have even said this yesterday, unless you can run away from people, which even Kansas City has not done that. I mean, their playoff years, including a couple of Bills games, of course, are very tight. So that doesn't seem likely at all. You want to get in, and then you just want to be on time and make those plays and make those play calls, and maybe you draw the Broncos and their quarterback broke his ankle last week or something, just you kind of, there's some luck. And that's what I mean. Like, it just feels a little bit short for analysis, but I think they probably should make it. If you were to throw up in the air the 1 seed versus missing the playoffs and sort of like, all right, well, do I take the 3? Do I need to guarantee that a playoff spot, even a home game? Or do I want to take my chances at the 1? The Chargers miss in this projection. The Jaguars miss in this projection. That point about the power rankings, yeah, like 2 teams we think are good are not going to make it. The Bills have what should be an advantage, and maybe also do the Jaguars, their own division. And, would you take anything less than 5-1 from the Bills in the AFC East?
No.
So 5-1
with the schedule they have outside of the division, I feel like if they're going to have an 11 win, or if you want to think about it, the one you got to win. You got to split with New England and sweep those other 4.
Okay, so that would be 6-5 against everybody else, and as good as any schedule, as daunting as any schedule might be. That's not great. I mean, that's okay. You're treading water against the rest of the league. The NFC North, the Ravens, the Texans, the Rams, the Chiefs. Like, that's what's out there. I mean, the entire AFC West, actually. But still, like, you're 6-5 against the rest of it. Doesn't seem that good. So there's maybe an argument for passing on 11-6, because if you get the 5-1 in the AFC East, then can I do better than 6 wins against the rest of my schedule? Maybe. 12-5, just whatever this is, the projections from USA Today, 12-5 is the top record. And that's an interesting thing, because if you're thinking about the 1 seed, all right, well, I'm the Bills, I win 11 or 12, I have my typical year, which to this point has not been good enough for the 1. It's been close. Didn't they win 13 when Kansas City got the 1 2 years ago?
Yep.
With 15-2 or whatever that was. 15-1 going to that last game that they threw.
Yep.
So maybe the question about the 1 seed is there a team in the rest of the AFC that you think will just run the table? I mean, Denver got to 14 wins last year. New England even got to 14 wins last year. Cincinnati here at 11, Baltimore here at 10, Kansas City here at 11, Houston at 12. The division should afford The rest of it is, I think, overall harder. But the division should afford the Bills and the Patriots, for that matter, some advantage if they can get 4 wins out of Miami and the Jets. Yep. And the Bills play those games, by the way. They play them back-to-back in the middle, and they play them back-to-back at the end, the Dolphins and the Jets.
Right.
So those are those 4 games. But if you get those 4 games and split with New England, I'd take my chances. If I knew that, I would not take 11-6, because then I think I can do better than 500 or just above 500 on the rest of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think the AFC South is somewhat comparable, although I guess Indy is better than either the Jets or the Dolphins.
According to this thing, they both are.
Okay.
Tennessee and Indianapolis.
I mean, I'm bullish on Cam Ward, but I mean, I don't think that's, they're not in the hunt. I don't think.
You love
Tennessee.
Cam Ward.
Yes, I do. So yeah, I think that I don't think Houston and Jacksonville have really any advantage that the Bills or Patriots don't have within their division. In fact, I think maybe the Bills and Patriots have it easier than both the Texans and the Jaguars. Both of those teams, I think, like Houston, I'm not a believer. Just because I think there's a lot of excuse making for Stroud, and it's possible that he gets it all back together, but I don't know, what is that? Like, is he better than Trevor Lawrence? Even like I don't know. The defense again looks incredible. There's no question about that. Man, the 1 seed for them is a lot for me to deal with.
Stroud is a big wild card in this.
It may be the biggest wild card in the league
of all players.
Yeah, because if he is, whatever, if he gets to like the Herbert tier. Even I don't even know if is there a Herbert tier?
I was thinking about visiting the Herbert tier.
If he gets
the library section.
I don't think he's challenging to get into the upper echelon, but if he's firmly in the group behind the top, Lamar and Allen and Mahomes, if he's in that, 3 through 8 range, they might be really great. I mean, I've not studied their schedule.
Houston.
They could be really good. I mean, the rest of it looks pretty tasty.
Yeah, I don't know what to do there. I mean, the stats on him, last year was his best year ever for completion percentage, but really that's splitting hairs. The 3 years he's been in the league, that's been all about the same, between 63 and 64%. What else has happened, though? And he missed 3 games last year. He missed 2 as a rookie, though. As a rookie, he threw for 4,100 yards, then 3,700, then last year 3,041. Like, that was a big drop last year. And okay, well, this or that. Offensive line.
Receiver injuries.
They lost. That's right. They lost Collins for a chunk of the season. They lost Tank Dell for all of it.
Right.
Mixon didn't play at all last year. He was probably the plan to be their running back, and he didn't play at all. I think he's probably done. So, yeah, he's a big one. I just wonder, we do these power rankings because they're hugely popular. Let's just admit that. That's one reason why we do them. Because they're sponsored.
Got to give the people what they want and the sponsors what they want.
Yes. But I think also it would be interesting to sort of open up the room to, like, who is the team, who's scary?
Right.
Like, you think Cincinnati is scary, and their schedule is pretty soft.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're Cincinnati and you got what you wanted from Pittsburgh and Cleveland, which would be if they showed some resemblance to the Dolphins and Jets, like those are 4 wins. That never happens, right? That never happens. But if it does, if Pittsburgh is bad and Cincinnati's good, same with the Browns, then you just can plant 4 wins. And then split with Baltimore, do the same thing we're talking about.
Right.
Where you're 5-1. Can I go 7-4 against the rest of it? The Bengals are in pretty good shape to do that.
Yep.
If they're that good because of who they play. Because they're playing the AFC South and they're playing the NFC South. I mean, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So it could be them. It could be Baltimore. Baltimore had that year, 2 or 3 years ago when they lost the AFC Championship game at home, where they were in total control of the AFC like the whole year.
Yep.
And then maybe you could also see somebody from the AFC West doing that. But for that to happen, the other teams would have to slip. Like you'd have to have, well, it happened last year, but you'd have to have, if it's Denver again, say,
right.
Kansas City to not be what they have once been, and the Chargers, and then maybe then you get to 13 or 14 wins. Yeah, I know. One thing you're saying, though, is that the Bills' schedule outside of their division, of course, especially Miami and New York, is pretty serious. And for them to get the one, they're going to have to win 8 games against Bears, Lions, Packers,
right.
Chiefs, Ravens, Texans, Rams, that crowd. And that's not going to be easy.
Yeah, to go 8-3 with that, and then you're 5-1, and you get to 13-4, just seems like a really heavy lift to me this year, which is why I'm a little more willing. Like I think I don't know, whenever it is we became obsessed with the 1 seed, which is probably when the Bills arrived as a contender and lost to Kansas City in that first AFC title
5
game.
years ago plus.
So I think at this time of the year, I mostly, in this kind of conversation, go like, yeah, no, I'm not taking anything. I want to try to get the 1 seed. I think it's important. I can remember making the point about the injuries in those wild card games, or even in Week 18 in Miami. Like you're losing guys, and that is hurting your chances. And if you don't have to lean into those games, or even play one of them, like a wild card game, all the better. And you're gonna have the benefit of rest and hopefully health and all that. But this year, I just feel like, again, the factors to me are the depth of contending level teams in the conference, whether that's because the top has sort of come back a little bit, which I think maybe has happened with Kansas City and Buffalo and Baltimore to an extent, and then the others have sort of risen up to sort of meet them, and now you've got this chunk of teams. That's complicating it, and then who the Bills are playing outside of the conference and all the new stuff. Like it all that just sort of adds up to me, yeah, I'm winning the division and I've got 11 wins. I'm the 3 seed. Yeah, I would sign up for that today.
You referenced that. Was it the night game in Miami you were thinking of there, the Sunday night?
The last game of the year, yeah, when they needed it. And Gabe Davis got hurt, and a linebacker got hurt. I don't remember who, because that A.J. Klein had to come play.
That's that year.
Yeah.
Rap, maybe.
Yeah, I think that was a part of it, too.
Man. Well, I wonder who fans are sort of focused on. I mean, this has always been Kansas City 1, Baltimore 2, I think. And then after that, whoever your favorite flavor is, New England now in that conversation, of course. Cincinnati is still in the room. The Jaguars and Texans in the AFC South. Denver was the 1 seed last year. The Chargers are, again, popular.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers only ever win that AFC North.
Right.
That's all they ever do
Right.
is get in the playoffs anyway.
Yep.
Really good.
There's a lot. It feels like there's more traffic on the road this year than other years, as far as the top of the conference goes.
Denver is the 1 in the power rankings 3 weeks in a row. They did knock the Bills out. But they're not anybody's overwhelming favorite. They're not even the betting favorite. The Bills are.
Right.
The Bills and the Ravens, not the Chiefs. Interesting. The Chiefs are slightly behind. Maybe that varies. I should shop around and see if that's true all the time. Maybe not. We will talk to Sal today at 4. Tyler Bass sighting. Well, we put the heat on, and look what happened. There he was, kicking balls today. There's a game tonight that I think we speak for everybody. We'll watch 5 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 10. And then it's on to what? I don't know.
I make no promises beyond that.
I've been watching that American Experience history of the race to the moon. I might end up back there.
Ted Lasso is back. I may dip into that.
I've never seen it,
Mrs. Parker,
but I have it now.
Yep.
So I would start at the beginning.
I would if I were you. Yeah. I adore that show.
You love it.
I don't know what they're going to do here for, like, I mean, they sort of closed it up at season 3, I think it was, and then, decided to come back. So I don't know what, how that's going to sit with me, but,
Okay.
Fine.
So many options these days.
Yes, that's right.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. Who for you in the AFC, if anyone, kind of scares you? Back after the break, we'll look for your calls next. This is WGR. Hey, Empire Electric is hiring. If you're ready for a career...
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfalo, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
give Belknap a ring.
Stronger, he's more explosive than you think. I think sometimes you watch guys on tape and you think you have a feel for who they are and what their skill set is, and you see it live and you're like, oh, wow, okay, that's why he's so hard to tackle, or that's why he's always creating separation. He's fun because just personality-wise, you can tell he's confident, he knows who he is, quiet. You can tell he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he works, and he makes people around him better.
Jim Leonard crossing the aisle to discuss DJ Moore. Do you have a Jim Leonard feel yet?
I was hoping he'd be a candidate. And then I guess I was rooting for him to get the job. I liked what his resume read like. It seemed completely reasonable to me that after having been a coordinator in college, a D coordinator in college, and then handling what role he handled with Denver, that he's ready, sort of like Joe Brady, quarterbacks coach, coordinator, head coach, like you're on the trail.
Qualified.
Yeah, you're qualified.
I agree.
And I liked what Denver was doing on defense. I mean, I don't know, about the Bills having the personnel to do maybe all of what they were doing, but still, in theory, yes, good idea. And there's nothing that has happened here that's changed any of that to me, like based on what, like practices or news conferences. I'm optimistic for him. I think the beginning could be rocky because, again, the personnel, I don't think, Deion Walker's never been a nose tackle. So is that you have the right dudes to do everything you want to do here? I think that remains to be seen, but I'm bullish on him, I would say.
Okay.
But not because of anything that's happened in the last 2 weeks.
I just heard his press conference last week when I was in the car headed to Chicago. It was close enough to home where I could hear the station on that drive, and I just tried to get stuff out of it, and it wasn't easy. I know that when it ended and the guys were in here talking, they were all like, oh, he sounds like a future head coach. And I was thinking to myself, I was sort of taken aback by that. Like, it just didn't really know. Well, many current and past head coaches, and I'm sure future ones, say a bunch of words and you don't really know what they really wanted to tell you. Like, they're just trying to get through it. McDermott for years was, if not, I wouldn't say forever, but for much of his time, I think it was a survival
right.
experience.
Stay out of the ditch. Yeah.
And so I wish I could remember. There were a couple things he said that I felt were pretty revealing, but I feel like he was a little bit of Brady, where just wanted to cover all the bases and somehow do that without saying the wrong thing. I
was listening to parts of he must have spoken today, I imagine, right? Okay, thank you, Zach. Brad was playing. Brad does this thing, and he's been doing it he used to do it on, years and years and years ago.
Right or wrong?
Right. Right. I don't know if it's exactly that, but where it's not the truth detector either, which is another thing that Brad used to have a lot of fun on his old nighttime show with. But he'll play a news conference and stop it and just all right, what was that exactly? What is he saying there? And he's doing it with Tim now, and it works. And one point today, there was a clip. It was just as I was getting in my truck on the way here, and Leonard had said something. It was about DJ Moore, actually, and I wondered if it was going to be the clip that we just aired, but it wasn't. There was that big highlight catch from practice. I guess that would have been on Tuesday because they were off yesterday, and I know it wasn't today. A long pass from Allen into triple coverage. Moore catches it. We talked about it. The John Stallworth Sports Illustrated cover, over the head catch into triple coverage. But the ball was placed, in the bucket, right to Moore, in stride, perfect, right? And Leonard basically sounded this. Brad stopped it when he got done talking. He said, I think he just said they completed that pass because we weren't trying, more or less. I'm not quoting Brad directly, but it's practice. We had 3 guys there, and basically, trust me, if it were a game, somebody would have hit him. And it wouldn't have been as easy to make that play. Like my guys were around the ball. They were where they needed to be. And in a game, I'm not sure that would have been a catch, basically.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. Everybody's all in love with that highlight, right? It's like, Allen and Moore, woo, heart emojis.
Yeah. Knock yourself out.
Right. And here's the D coordinator going like, someone probably would have clubbed him.
Do you think would you be offended if we get into the regular season and he's like, if that were a playoff game, we would have laid that guy out?
Yeah, I think that would bother me.
That would bother you?
Yeah.
Right or wrong is Daryl Ryder.
Oh,
in Cleveland.
Right. Okay.
As right or wrong.
Yeah.
You know Brad is a word?
No.
It's a small wire nail. It's called a brad.
Really?
Yes. Works in Scrabble. Try it.
Okay.
Tonight when you go home and play Scrabble.
How did you?
When you're not listening to another sales podcast.
I'm not imagining you've got a lot of experience with tiny little nails or really any kind of nail. So I'm like,
how dare you?
You're not like going to Home Depot going, I need some brads.
I need a couple of brads.
I need a box
Just
of
give
brads.
me a bag of brads.
Yeah, a bag of brads.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. That's fair. You're right.
But so I've never known that. No.
That's a word you can play.
Yeah.
When you go home tonight to play Scrabble with your family. Scrabble Junior? You have that, or you have Scrabble, the real one?
I don't have.
You have Scrabble Junior.
I have
Bulldog. Come on.
I have Scrabble when I go to some cottage on vacation in August, and they say board games in the description of the Airbnb we'll stay at, and that's where I see Scrabble. We don't have a Scrabble.
That would
at home.
be one of the top board games that you would see in a situation like that.
Sure. Yes.
Uno.
Sure.
If that's a board, it's a card game.
But some of the cards are missing, probably.
Yeah, but you never know it.
Right.
Have you ever played Uno and be like, I think some of the skips are missing?
Right.
No. You never count. It's interesting about Uno. You never count the cards. It's hard to shuffle them all at once.
Right.
So you break them up, but nobody ever asks how many draw twos are in there.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the complement of draws two
no idea
are in the Uno deck. Just like whatever you get, you get.
Yeah.
Skip-bo. I have news.
Oh, well, you've waited until now.
I am out of the WGR Fantasy League.
Oh.
At least temporarily.
Wow. And I'm still in?
Yes. What are we going to do? We need to find a league that we can play in together and talk about.
No.
But I am out.
Yeah.
That is a Tuesday night draft, always. Almost always. That is a Tuesday night draft.
It is again this year. The email came and I sent Paul the money. I think I want some credit for fastest money transfer for fantasy. That email came, it was during a break. I'm just gonna Venmo Paul the money right now. And I did. So I'm committed.
Yeah, now you have to be there.
Yeah.
Now you've paid.
Yeah.
At least I haven't paid. But it's Tuesday night, and that's ADP chasing, and we're going to move to Mondays during the season, but this is right before the season. Well, it's actually the night before the opener.
Couldn't you just auto draft or have somebody draft for you or something?
That's kind of what we're doing. But I'm not going to have somebody draft the team and then just do it for me.
Yeah. All right.
So my nephew Joe is going to take it for the year. He's going to draft it and run it.
I could probably just throw this whole thing on Owen.
I thought he's already in. Oh, you're a team. You're together.
We've been partnered, but
yeah.
Part of the lack of enjoyment, everybody, the draft. The draft is so great. You're like, it's so fun. It's great. And I like all the people involved. No question.
No, but it's not that much fun.
It's not that much fun. A part of the lack of fun for me is because Owen and I are a team. We can't both be logged in to the ESPN app for the draft. So we got to share, one device, and it's just not. I don't know. I every year I get there and I just can't wait to go home. I'm just being honest. I just can't wait to. Are we done yet? Oh my God! How many more picks are there?
There's nothing about the guys. I learned this from an old friend Joe about online drafts when you meet in person. All right. Well, you can't all get together. So I'm in one that was supposed to be tomorrow night, and a bunch of guys can't make it, so we're just going to draft it online. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you are together and are drafting online, you really nobody talks.
Right.
All we do is go and order food and drink and then sit there.
And there's no yelling out the picks.
No, right.
Everyone just enters it, and you like. And I'm not looking at a screen because Owen's looking at the screen, and so he knows the pick, I don't, or I know the pick and he doesn't. And yeah, I think socially it has taken a big hit.
If you are going to have, and I'm talking to myself here too, because I've run the League of Schopps and Dreams has been this for 9 years. It's 10 now. Like it's together but online.
Mm-hmm.
And some like this year I didn't even go. Like it should be important to the people in the group to show up, because if they don't show up, they're going to miss it. But if you're on your phone and you can just do it, then you just do it.
Right.
And then it's a question of, well, how valuable to me is the social side of it? My old friend Joe was right. If you're going to draft live, no online. You got to be there. There's got to be a board with stickers.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be,
right.
That's old school. Like
right.
That's a live draft. If you're going to draft on your phone, then just stay home.
Right.
And just draft,
mm-hmm.
which is, relatively lame. But
yep.
When you're together drafting on your phone, everybody's just on their phone.
Right.
And that's not as cool.
It sucks. It's not. There isn't the interaction. There isn't the laughing at picks or mocking. It's just not, because I don't even know who's picking whom half the time. I'm just sitting here.
It goes by.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, he's gone. Okay.
Right.
But I don't even know who it was. Just like he got picked. Right. So, I mean, whatever. I'm listen to me complaining. I mean, it'll be fine. It'll be nice to see everybody.
Let me know.
But it's just not.
Let me know how it goes.
Yeah,
I'm going to miss it.
Yeah. All right.
You could put my show on while you're drafting that, because it's Tuesday night. I don't think you will.
I'm not going to do that.
No one's going to do that.
No.
But this means, however, for me, I will not be on ESPN. This is the only league in many years I've only had on ESPN, the only one. And ESPN is my favorite app for game day. Yahoo's close. But on game day, I like the ESPN play-by-play, which I get to through fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But I might need to have a team to be able to use that. I'm sure ESPN's like the football page probably has it too.
Probably, yeah.
But like that play-by-play where you have 6 or 8 games on the screen at once and you can see everything that happens, which is faster than Red Zone. Like faster, It comes up on your computer before it comes up on TV. Touchdown Colts. Oh, click. Let me see this touchdown by the Colts, which Red Zone might need a minute to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I want to be ahead. I want to be first. So I like that, but if I'm not in an ESPN league, then I'm not sure I'll have access to that. We'll have to figure that out.
I can give you a password.
Good. Will you be on ESPN tonight to follow the Hall of Fame game? I can do a lot of things, but I don't think I'll be doing that. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
I will. Oh no! It's NBC, right?
NBC. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth tonight.
Do we have that yet on the? Is that,
I don't know.
I haven't.
Peacock though.
Yeah,
probably.
I still haven't ditched that subscription. But we got an email from Fubo a month ago,
it's coming.
like that. They're
So
all
are the
coming,
higher
they're all
prices.
coming back. Yeah, right.
Yeah, imagine like sitting down to watch the Hall of Fame game and you realize you don't have it and being upset. After all these months of no football games, now you get the Carolina-Arizona backups. Any 2 worse teams for this game than these 2 teams? I mean, Arizona's going to wear all red. It'll be hideous, this game. No Jeremiah Love, no Jonathan Brooks. The quarterbacks aren't playing. Just this will be hideous. I mean, do we even get Michael Wilson? I don't even know if we get Michael Wilson or not.
I'm going to bet no.
Maybe not. He's a starter. So all these months without football, you didn't. You lived, and then you get to tonight and you sit down to watch Carolina, Arizona backups, and you can't find it. You're like, oh my God, this is the worst. Do I go out?
Right.
Do I go out? I don't know. I can't figure out what to do. It's a light baseball night. Sal Capaccio coming up in 20 minutes or less. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. This is WGR. Thursday, getaway day often in Major League Baseball, Mets in Cleveland. Where are the Mets going that's so important? I don't know that they have to be in such a rush. But they're up 13-5 now in the 8th in Cleveland. I think this is for a sweep. They've won the first 2 games of this series.
I think this was 6-5 when we sat down and started the show. It was the 6th inning, 6-5, and the Mets have just sort of gone off here since in the hour that has passed, or less than an hour that has passed.
They won 6-5 last night, and they won 6-2 on Tuesday, going for a sweep. Cleveland, look out!
Red Sox going for another sweep tonight
against my White Sox.
Yep.
And then the White Sox play Cleveland. They go to Cleveland from there. Cleveland reeling. I ran a 13-run pool here many years ago, maybe almost 20 years ago, where you had to get as many people as there are major league teams. So whatever that 30 people, mostly from inside the building. That you know it's a long time ago if there were 30 people in the building.
Yes.
And it was like $5 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And every time your team, you'd rotate teams or not. I think you could do it either way. And if your team scored exactly 13 runs that week, you would split the pot or win the pot.
Win the pot, right.
And I remember a couple of times that year where I woke up to like, oh, I had the Diamondbacks scored 13 runs. 14's too many. There was one guy whose name I have written down from sales who never paid me. You know, I needed to fill 30 slots and, I'll see you, one of these guys. And he never did. And then he was gone. And so
that'll happen.
Another fantasy tip, get your money or else it's no.
Right. This guy was not like me with the Paul fantasy email.
The opposite.
Like, let me send this 30 seconds after receiving the email. Hey, everybody owes me $7. Okay, here it is, Paul.
Yeah, he might have been the type to be like, I'm never going to pay that. Yeah. But if he won, I would have paid him. Like.
Yeah, right.
I don't like that hanging over me.
I feel like what sounds familiar to me now that you've brought this up is that at some point this person did win. And there was like we talked on the air about how you should handle it or something.
Maybe.
I feel like that happened.
Yeah, maybe. I know I have it written down somewhere, this guy's name, because I have all that stuff. I have everything.
Right.
And that took some record keeping. If you run like a dynasty league or something, get your money a year ahead. Because then sometimes people just don't care and they abandon it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fire them or they quit. And you got to find somebody else to take on a bad team, and they don't want to do it for full price. So if you get the money a year ahead, then you can offer the team for free to somebody the first year. They can sort of get it back on its feet. That, I think, is the best way to go. Sal Capaccio after this here on WGR.
On the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time.
Back to the practice field today for the Buffalo Bills, and they got some very good injury news right away. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was back and was a full participant as he continues to recover from what is thought to be a calf injury. And we also heard from Gardner-Johnson, who got pretty fiery when asked about his former team, the Houston Texans, who the Bills are playing come week 1.
They released me because I wasn't gelling with the team and I didn't fit well. After the loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we was already starting 0-3, so how can it possibly be on one person?
Deion Walker was also out there today. He was wearing a new elbow brace, and then we'll also get more on today. Sal Capaccio, he's going to be joining the show next. And coverage of training camp on WGR, it is presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor when you need to stock up. It's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million. Football does return tonight. It is the Hall of Fame game. Kickoff's at 8 p.m. It's the Panthers and the Cardinals. Kenny Pickett and Carson Beck are the quarterbacks who will get the start tonight. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor gets a 2-year, $44 million extension. And the Texans, they sign linebacker Henry To'o to a 2-year, $16 million extension. We had some early afternoon baseball today. The Mets are currently up 13-5 on Cleveland. That game is in the 8th. And then the Blue Jays, they are at the Cubs. Toronto leads that one 1-0 in the 6th. And coming up later tonight, Bison's home versus Norfolk at 6:35. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Rare occasion for either of us to do this, but today we both did. Bulldog, I was the follower. He was the leader. Vending machine soda.
It's very rare. I don't drink soda with any. I very rarely road trip maybe stop like on a 4 hours into a road trip, stop for gas maybe, but more often than not that still would be a coffee for me.
Same. I don't drink it ever.
Than a soda pop. But I did a lot of work around the house this morning, and I was right before the show. I thought, like, you know what? I need a little juice. I need some sugar and some caffeine, and like, let's go.
I'm often into that vitamin water in our vending machine, but it's broken again. It's always broken. So there's another one out in the hallway, Mountain Dew. Or, as it happens, American Dew.
Wow.
It's called. My wife has never had Mountain Dew.
Good for her.
And I was desperate. I just needed something too. So I don't know why this happened to us on the same day.
Yeah.
But American Dew. Sal Capaccio, guess. Soda guy, not a soda guy. I'm guessing not. Sal's very health conscious.
Sal's you're a coffee guy.
I am.
Oh, you are a soda
Yeah,
guy.
but that's my vice.
Oh.
It's my vice.
Yeah.
In particular? Which one in particular?
I mean, whichever the best deal is on Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, basically. But it is my voice. I do drink too much of it. I'm a caffeine guy, too. And, I mean, not that the diet has a caffeine. I'm a big coffee guy. Soda. Yeah.
But you're not a drinker, right? Like, rarely.
No,
Sal.
I mean...
Right. Like, yeah, you might drink, I'm going to hope you drink more soda than I drink beer. Because but I probably replace some of my soda intake with beer intake compared to you.
I always tell you guys, so I'm not a big beer drinker at all. Like I don't really like beer. I never acquired the taste for beer. I do like seltzers, different kinds, different flavors. That's fine. And I like my red wine. So like last night, went to the Pittsford pub here. I just played some golf yesterday. Came up because I was going to stay in my dorm last night. Played golf in the afternoon. Went to the Pittsburgh pub for dinner to get some work done. Put the computer down and said, ordered a red wine. And then a gentleman came over and he said, "Hey, you're Sal. Like, listen to you. I'll buy you a drink." So he ordered me another beer, another drink, and that became another red wine, which I didn't really actually plan on having two, but I did. So that's what happened.
Well, you do sound a little slow today, to be honest. No, just kidding. You don't. Not at all. Today, so practice this morning. We have Tyler Bass. We have seen Tyler Bass, Sal.
Yeah.
Whether you had any particular role in his being sort of returned to society, I don't know. It was an interesting conversation there a couple of days ago, but he's back. Is there anything else to say?
He said, "I know you guys have not seen me kick, but we've been kicking." So he's aware that, we talk about that, I guess, or people have reported that, talked about it. He first kicked to the kickoff return team. So they're working special teams. And instead of using the jugs machine, he kicked. So it was a kickoff return team. So it wasn't even the kickoff team. They were working more of the return. So he did that. And then they flipped it around and did field goals. And they started at like the 33, then it went to the 37, 39. So if you track it, kind of kept going up, make. Then he missed one from 43, I believe it was. And then he made one from 46 and 47. They missed one from 51. I think I have that right. His longest make was 46. Now, some in the media, you may have seen some reports that he went 7 for 7. Where we get to stand, the vantage point is tough to see if it goes through the uprights sometimes. And there's no official actually saying good or no good. So some of the media thought he made them all. I thought he missed 2. I had confirmation from a couple other media members that they believed he missed 2. So we're going with he was 5 of 7. He pushed a couple to the right. But more importantly to me, his leg looked really, really strong. Like he was, even on the misses, the makes doesn't matter. They were high up. And they were booming through the uprights.
Any explanation for where he's been? Like why it's been so secretive or no?
Well, I guess it hasn't been secretive to the team. They've just been keeping him, doing it during their walkthroughs because I think they want to maximize practice time and they'll use that time for that. Just remember, it's not a live period. You don't have a true pass rush, a field goal rush. I think that the explanation would be found in what Jeff Rogers said, Mike, which is they've kind of just wanted to wait to get him in like environments he'll be kicking in. And, they'll wait. So I think they've just waited to ramp it up here. You'll see him more on Saturday in an actual stadium environment. So I think that's probably it. But, maybe there's something to just kind of wanting him to, ramping him up a little bit more. But he looked fine to me today, and he is
Yep.
the only kicker on the roster, and he has been for a while.
The first clip I saw of him kicking, there's this little hop step after, and I was,
After the kick, right?
Yeah, after the kick, like he kicks it, and there's like a little, and I'm just gonna admit I had never noticed that before. It's been a while since we've seen him kick. I mean, it's been a year, right? Basically, since we've seen him kick. So I guess I didn't have his kicking motion, the entirety of it, including the follow through and the steps afterward,
distinct kicking motion,
committed to memory. So I saw like, oh, that looked a little. Is he okay? That looks weird, right? That's what I thought. So I did the thing that you almost never should do. I went to the comments, and there was a lot of like, that didn't look right. What's the hop step? What's going on there? And thankfully, an account I follow, I don't remember who now, had a highlight of the 61-yarder against Miami, the exact same vantage point as the video of him kicking today at training camp. And the exact same thing happens after he kicks the ball. There's like a little half step and a hop as he finishes the kick. I'm like, oh, he's probably always done that. I just didn't know. And like some people were freaking out. I guess including me. I was freaked out enough to want to go in the comments and see. And then a little later, I saw this quote tweet with, this is what he does.
What is it, for balance?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I saw it, though, Bulldog. I saw it, and it was kind of weird. I'm like, ooh, did something happen? The reason I didn't get too worried about it was he kept kicking.
He kept kicking, right?
And then he came to talk to us after, and he was fine.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, obviously nothing's wrong there, but it did seem weird. I just thought maybe he kind of just slipped on the follow-through. But you're right. Matt Bove and I just recorded an episode of It's Always Game Day in Buffalo, and he brought up the same thing you did, which is someone found the Miami kick, and he did it the same thing. So, I didn't really remember him doing that. The operation with a new holder, Tommy Doman, now he has an old holder, if you will, Mitch Wishnowski, a holdover holder. But I'm going to anticipate Tommy Doman is the team's punter after drafting him. So that's got to be buttoned up. And, he talked about, working with Tommy and obviously Reed. So seems like things are trending well here for Tyler Bass.
By the way, if you draft a punter in any round, doesn't he have to make the team? Is that kind of what you're thinking too? That if you cut the guy after drafting a punter, it sort of looks bad. You almost have to go forward with him just to see. Yes or no?
I think that's the case. Now, obviously, we had the Matt Ariza situation a few years ago.
Well, yeah,
and they did draft him.
That's
right.
Different.
But I think that normally the guy is going to make the team. You invested something in him. I'm sure there's been instances where that's not the case, a kicker or a punter. I think kickers have been drafted and didn't make the team. But when you have that investment, I think that's the case.
Okay.
Greg Torlone is who I want to give credit to for the Miami video, and I think he works for the team. I think his Twitter avatar is him standing with I think he's one of the flag wavers in the end zone.
Yeah, he runs out. He runs out with the flag.
So I don't know how
they score points.
I don't know how I came to be following him. Probably for stuff like this. I feel like he's been helpful before.
I know Greg.
I've seen the name, and I'm like, okay. And that's who had the
He's also a DJ, by the way, like weddings and stuff that I've seen.
All right, so are we done?
Shout out to Greg. There you go.
Are we done with kickers for now? Then it's all over.
He's fine.
The drama is behind us.
If he starts missing a lot, then maybe we'll
until he starts missing. But look, I will say this: Bulldog said people were freaking out about that. I mean, a lot of people are still. I can't believe he missed two of them. I mean, that's what you get there too. I'm not as concerned about that. I think the leg looked healthy and strong. That's what I'm concerned about.
Right. All right. Sal Capaccio with us. Bills on the field today. Then there's tomorrow, and then they're in Orchard Park Saturday, and it's bye Fisher after tomorrow. Right, Sal?
Yep, that's it. One day left at St. John Fisher. Back tomorrow to the return of the Red and Blue at 7 p.m. And then that's it. Then they stay in Buffalo. And then the following week, and then the week leads up to the preseason game. Then the following week they're in Cleveland for joint practice.
All right. Next week, Orchard Park. Following week, Cleveland. Got it.
Yes.
And the big news, the most interesting thing that happened there today, maybe was C.J. Gardner-Johnson talking. He was back and practicing. Right. That's also news. After the scare from last weekend with the lower calf strain. But man, he went in on the Texans to a degree, Sal.
Yeah, so let me set up the situation and first of all talk about the fact that him practicing today was very, very notable and a big deal. I mean, he had just gone through that injury scare on Saturday, guys. I mean, is it Achilles, done for the year? Oh my God, right? People wondering. And then we learned that it was avoided worst case, reported as a calf strain, and then he's out with trainers for a couple of days. He was back today. He was 11 on 11. He was full go. He was everything. I got some video from him, on social. People can watch during individual. So that was really great news. So, of course, we'd like to talk to him in the media after his first day back. He comes over to talk, and he did check with PR. Tim Graham made a great point on his show with Brad. Said a lot of times if guys are, still nursing injuries, PR kind of keeps them back. You don't want to say anything you shouldn't say, so PR keeps them back. And I saw CJ look over to Bill's PR and go, hey, they want to talk. And they're like, yep, go ahead. So he comes over and he talks. So he starts talking about playing. Well, I will tell you guys that I had talked to people in other markets where he had played before. And last year he played in Houston, and he was released really early in the season. And I've talked to people in Houston who basically said, yeah, like he kind of did his own thing, like just was kind of freelancing a little bit, didn't work out. They were not happy with it. It did not end well for him there, from their side. From the Texan side, from what I understand. So just dawned on me, oh boy, he's going back to Houston here for week 1. What's that going to be like? So I said, are you looking forward to going back in Houston where maybe it didn't end the way you wanted it to? And then he just started really kind of going in on, as you say, Houston. In fact, he first said nothing, I'm not going to talk about the coaching staff or the front office, but the players are really good there. And he stopped. Another question happens, and in mid-question, he looked at me and said, man, now you got me talking about the Texans, and I'm pissed off. And I'm like, okay, is that a good thing? He said, it's a great thing. I'm like, do you want to talk about it? He said, well, I don't know. What's the real story? We can talk about that. I said, well, let's talk about it then. I mean, it was really interesting. Yeah. And he basically said, it's lies, it's BS. What happened? I said, what happened? He said they told him that he didn't gel with the team. And he said, but they were 0-3. After that Jags game, they released them. They're 0-3. So how's it supposed to be on one guy? At the end of the day, at the end of the conversation, it came down to he felt very disrespected about how they communicated with him or didn't communicate with him, a 5-second phone call, and did not appreciate it. And he's not happy about it. And he's, willing to talk about it.
Yeah, Houston did start 0-3 last year. He was released. They ended up, 12-5? So, yeah, pretty good turnaround. Gardner Johnson is on, if you count Philadelphia twice, because he's had 2 different stints there, he's on his 7th team in 5 years.
8 if you count practice squad with the Ravens last year.
Okay. So that too. What is it about him that was it on display today in this conversation? Like, what is it about Gardner Johnson? Maybe it's just on the field. I don't know, but he's had good stats, interceptions. He's had good seasons by the numbers. What is it about him that people don't like, if I can put it that way?
Well, I would say, first of all, I would direct people to a much more in-depth conversation he had with Tim Graham back in minicamp, I believe it was. And Tim wrote about this, and he went really in-depth. And he said a lot more about Houston and the Texans. And if you want to get even more into detail about what went down there, what he felt about it, Tim Graham did an excellent piece. And he asked this same question Tim did. Like, why have you been, with all these teams? So here's my read of everything from me watching him. And I think that today was a good window into this, which is C.J. Gardner-Johnson has a very certain type of edge about him that I think you guys can see and understand. He is a really excellent football player, but that certain edge and type of player can really wear on you as an organization, as a locker room, especially if maybe things aren't going great. But he's been on, you go back in his career, Mike, you talk about the teams he's been on. Every team he's been on, everywhere. Like if he was just there for a second, they all had a winning record. 9-8's the worst record he's ever had on a team. He went to 2 Super Bowls, he's won 1. So he's helped teams win. But, man, the Eagles had him, and they're like, we got to a Super Bowl, but we don't want this guy on our team anymore. Guess what? They realized they couldn't live without him. They brought him back, and then they won a Super Bowl. And they said, we don't want him again. So, to me, it feels a little bit like a Stephon Diggs type of situation where why does Stephon Diggs go from team to team? He has this personality that wears on you, and after a while, you're like, man, I've kind of had enough of it. But, man, you love when he's on your team. He gives you an edge. He's a really good football player, and it's just a super interesting dynamic.
Diggs now on his 4th team in 4 years. Yeah. Bills, Houston, New England, and Washington.
I wonder if it's just like I think there might be a window into him from what occurred with you guys today. Like, he might just be a guy who's got a real pretty sturdy idea of how everything should be. And if anything isn't the way that he thinks it should be, he's probably not going to be shy about letting you know. right? Like if that's teammates, if that's coaches, is the cafeteria, like who knows what, right? But just like he just can't keep it in. Like why is this like this? I am ashamed. I can be this way about certain things, and I've gotten better as I've gotten older, but I wish I would have been better at it 20 years ago when my kids were little, because my just why is this here? Why is it? And I don't know, but that seems to me like in his head he can't really rectify something that's so obviously wrong being wrong. I have a feeling, and like that I think can wear people out.
and I think to that point, one thing I've heard about him and his style and his play at various places he's been is he can freelance a little too much and maybe play out of structure. But I'll tell you this, guys, the further away from the ball that guy is, the better he is sometimes, because he can freelance and he can go get the ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you just put him in center field and say, go get interceptions, that's what he does best. And I think he knows that. That's what he does best. So being on a team that will allow him to do that, I think it'd be great. But he also signs 1-year deals, right? Because teams are like, okay, we're going to bring this guy in, and then we're going to see how it goes. And to that point, he signed a 1-year deal. He has this injury from Saturday. Sometimes guys would just like, I'm not going back out there for a couple weeks, right? I mean, he was out there today.
Right.
He loves football. He exudes football. That's the one thing about CJ, I will tell you, that no doubt I have learned here, getting to cover him for the last few months. You can say all you want about his boisterousness, his attitude, the way he talks. That guy loves football. He wants to play football, and he wants to make plays.
Gardner Johnson out of Florida came in with the Saints and has bounced around. I was sort of cringing during Bulldog's, analysis, because I am that way. And I think there is just if I may, there is another side to that coin, because you do damage sometimes to relationships and you make your life more complicated by speaking up. But then if you to soften that and to get along better as you get older, you stop doing that. But it eats me up inside because I know I'm right. I mean, sometimes at least. And to not say it just because you want an easier ride is very frustrating and depressing too. There's no winning. It's a curse.
Yeah, I'm just taking a shot at it. I mean, I have no idea if I'm correct about him, but about him.
You know it's true about yourself.
Yes.
And it's definitely true of me.
Yeah. Can I make one more point about this?
Sure.
The other day, Deion Dawkins said, when everything happened with CJ, we asked him about Deion. And Deion said, he's the teammate I never knew I needed. And what do you mean by that? He's like, he shows you that you can be expressive and be yourself, and Deion wants to be that way. And we know Deion can be that way. So I just find it interesting, the dynamic that he brings to this football team.
My mind is racing. I was out in Chicago with a friend who used to be in restaurants, and I love how sort of matter of fact, he was never rude or unfriendly. He was just sort of direct with the servers, like, I want this, like they say in that Progressive ad. You don't have to be their friend. Just, you don't have to say your name or anything like that. But, you go to a restaurant, like, could I have a glass of water, please? And the waiter will say, no problem. You'd be like, well, why would it have been a problem? I mean, you work here. Could you please bring me? It's a very, very strange, dark area.
You have a problem with no problem.
I have a problem with no problem.
Yeah.
I have a problem with a lot of things. Sal, yesterday, seeing pictures of, I guess, the old stadium, we'll call it that now, in rubble. We talked about some of our favorite memories there and just kind of like kicking the feet up, lit a cigar, talking about, the old days. Do you have, if you would, I'm sure you do, you have probably many, but maybe once as a child or a teenager or something, and then maybe once as a professional, a couple of memories that you think you might never forget of the place?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a fan, it's 51-3 more than anything. Just being in that stadium for that moment. In senior in high school, being with so many people, celebrating, going to the Super Bowl, 41-3 at halftime. Yeah. That's been incredible. For me, I mean, I got a chance to play there, guys. I had an interception at the stadium in high school, and walking out of the tunnel as a player, I didn't know that 25 years later or 30 years later, whatever it is, that I'd be walking out of the tunnel as a media member and professional and covering the Buffalo Bills. But when you do that for the first time, you're like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I will tell you back then, I do. My memories of the turf, you guys know that turf was like concrete back then, right?
Right.
And like getting like just bruised and scraped up and bloody just playing on it. The crown was so large and things like that. And then, I think later on, some of my memories just being on the field, and what I will always take away, and this will not change in the new stadium really, is being so close to the action. As a sideline reporter the last 12 years, you go to all these different stadiums, and that stadium, everybody's just so close to you. And we know the new stadium's like that. We know the way it's pitched, and everybody even up top is going to be a little bit higher. But, that fight that happened with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Bills, being right in the mix of that, because there's nowhere to go. You have no escape when you're there. And being so close on that field to the fans and the game is different than most stadiums.
Yeah, if you wanted to get further away from that fight, you would have had to go on the field. The actual field of play, right?
That's right.
Like within the white lines, right? Because it was just so compacted. Yeah. Is it jarring to you that it came down so fast?
Yeah.
I watched that entire. You mentioned when we visited on Tuesday that you and Matt were going to talk to Pete Coelho. I watched that Tuesday night as soon as you posted it. Or maybe even I was watching it live. I don't know. I didn't finish it live. I know I had to pause it. But
we recorded it, so it wasn't live. It's all
okay. There was so much good information in there. But him talking about how they were, I think, obligated, he said, contractually to have the stadium down by March of 27. Yeah. And, I know it's not shovel ready. They still got to get all the debris out of there and clean the site and make it shovel ready. But I didn't expect it to be. I wondered, I said on the air yesterday, I wonder if fans were expecting to still be looking at it from across the street when they went like they were looking at the new place last year.
Whoops.
But gone.
I think what's happening here, my read of it, listening to Pete talk, and thank you for that. Pete, great conversation on a lot of things, and people can check that out on the Always Game Day
I would
podcast,
highly encourage them to do it. I got a lot of information out of that hour-long conversation.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was an hour long with the Bills and Sabres president. My guess is they have some real ideas of what they want to do with that space, and they want to getting on. You know what I mean? It was before we're going to figure out what we want to do, so let's get it down by March of 27. By then we'll have an idea. I think they have ideas. Listening to Pete talk, I think they want to get on with it so they can start doing something over there.
Bulldog said it all the other day. Construction is always behind schedule. Demolition is always ahead.
It's true.
Yeah, I definitely think that's right, Sal. If they want to get in line for an NFL draft, I think, and I know Pete talked about downtown and using Canal Side and the arena as part of that, and maybe even Niagara Falls, and having this incredibly varied footprint for an event like the NFL draft. You're going to need support, just infrastructure, just places for people to go and gather that are not just the stadium. Any of these places that are holding the draft have got big spaces for that.
Yeah, and Canal Side, is something that's been talked about for sure. Across the street from the stadium, whatever is there, they're going to have to think about. And then you have parking issues too, which you have to start, thinking about with the new stadium. So we're going to see for the first time on Saturday with a pretty packed house, I think, people showing up and how all this is going to start to work with the ingress and the egress and the parking. And, we're going to have a lot more conversations about that. And I'm sure that they're going to start adjusting things after that as they've done in the past with these types of events.
Thank you, Sal. One more tomorrow. We'll talk then.
You got it, guys. Thanks.
That's Sal Capaccio on the Wester Hotline.
He sounded great for 2 glasses of wine last night, I thought.
Oh, yeah. No, you wouldn't even, if he hadn't volunteered that, you wouldn't
Never
have
would have
known. Yeah. Training camp coverage on WGR presented by Fiegel, Carr, and Joyce, your border attorneys, and also brought to you by Outlet Liquor. We need to stock up. It's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? Also should mention the best of training camp as well as training camp coverage is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million.
Did some stadium reminiscing yesterday. Be up for a little more of that if you're so inclined. 803-0550. And, of course, the season. Who is the Bills team to beat? Does it have to be New England because of the division element or no? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Back after this. This is WGR. Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. People know.
Just the most interesting thing that happened there today, maybe was C.J. Gardner-Johnson talking. He was back
practicing
and practicing. Right, that's also news after the scare from last weekend with the lower calf strain. But man, he went in on the Texans to a degree, Sal.
Yeah, so let me set up the situation and first of all talk about the fact that him practicing today was very, very notable and a big deal. I mean, he had just gone through that injury scare on Saturday, guys. I mean, is it Achilles, done for the year? Oh my God, right? People wondering. And then we learned that it was avoided worst case, reported as a calf strain, and then he's out with trainers for a couple of days. He was back today. He was 11 on 11. He was full go. He was everything. I got some video from him, on social. People can watch during individual. So that was really great news. So, of course, we'd like to talk to him in the media after his first day back. He comes over to talk, and he did check with PR. Tim Graham made a great point on his show with Brad. Said a lot of times if guys are, still nursing injuries, PR kind of keeps them back. You don't want to say anything you shouldn't say, so PR keeps them back. And I saw CJ look over to Bill's PR and go, hey, they want to talk. And they're like, yep, go ahead. So he comes over and he talks. So he starts talking about playing. Well, I will tell you guys that I had talked to people in other markets where he had played before. And last year he played in Houston, and he was released really early in the season. And I've talked to people in Houston who basically said, yeah, like he kind of did his own thing, like just was kind of freelancing a little bit, didn't work out. They were not happy with it. It did not end well for him there, from their side, from the Texan side, from what I understand. So just dawned on me, oh boy, he's going back to Houston here for week 1. What's that going to be like? So I said, are you looking forward to going back in Houston where maybe it didn't end the way you wanted it to? And then he just started really kind of going in on, as you say, Houston. In fact, he first said nothing, I'm not going to talk about the coaching staff or the front office, but the players are really good there. And he stopped. Another question happens, and in mid-question, he looked at me and said, man, now you got me talking about the Texans, and I'm pissed off. And I'm like, okay, is that a good thing? He said, it's a great thing. I'm like, do you want to talk about it? He said, well, I don't know. What's the real story? We can talk about that. I said, well, let's talk about it then. I mean, it was really interesting. Yeah. And he basically said, it's lies, it's BS. What happened? I said, what happened? He said they told him that he didn't gel with the team. And he said, but they were 0-3. After that Jags game, they released them. They're 0-3. So how's it supposed to be on one guy? At the end of the day, at the end of the conversation, it came down to he felt very disrespected about how they communicated with him or didn't communicate with him. A 5-second phone call, and did not appreciate it. And he's not happy about it, and he's, willing to talk about it.
Yeah, Houston did start 0-3 last year. He was released. They ended up, 12-5? So, pretty good turnaround. Gardner-Johnson is on, if you count Philadelphia twice, because he's had 2 different stints there, he's on his 7th team in 5 years.
Back to the practice field today for the Buffalo Bills, and they also got some very good injury news today as C.J. Gardner-Johnson was back and a full participant as he continues to his recovery from what is thought to be a calf injury, and Deion Walker also on the field with an elbow brace. And for more on today, Sal Capaccio has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million. There is football tonight. It is the Hall of Fame game. Kickoff at 8 p.m. It is between the Panthers and the Cardinals. Panthers starting quarterback is going to be Kenny Pickett, while for Arizona, it'll be Carson Beck. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor gets a 2-year extension, $44 million there. And the Texans, they signed linebacker Henry To'o to a 2-year, $16 million extension. While in baseball, the Mets did take down Cleveland 13-5. The Blue Jays are at the Cubs right now. Toronto's up in that one 2-0 in the 7th. And then later tonight, Bison's home versus Norfolk. That one at 6:35. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
So I'm spending a lot of my time now doing a ton of research on leadership, obviously spending time, as you mentioned, with some teams. And then once the season comes around, I'm going to be elbow deep in scheme and getting myself ready to go back out there and have a scheme that is cutting edge.
There he is, Sean McDermott, talking about his plans.
Cutting edge.
He's going to research this year. Spend this year in the cave.
Trying to determine what's effective, what's ineffective, and develop a new cutting edge scheme. They didn't exactly say new, but he said cutting edge. That implies new.
McDermott,
just like to me, projection implies work versus predictions.
Okay. All right. He would be an interesting test case as one of these ex-coaches to go into broadcasting and then just park there. Like Jimmy Johnson, Bill Cowher, the two examples I think of first, both won Super Bowls. Like they had reached the top. It's still incredible to me especially Cowher, for as coaches, as they're always described as these type A personalities that just can't, they're there all night and day. And to be able to sort of cut that cord and then go into yuck yucks and laugh at unfunny things for a living, for more money, probably, is just getting satisfaction. Fine. A lot of people like myself maybe would just be, okay, you're going to pay me this.
Right.
But for a guy like that to just veer into that lifestyle and clean break and never go back into coaching, was even ever almost rumored to go back. We talked about him for a minute, like maybe the Bills could get him, but he never went back. And Jimmy Johnson never went back. He's still on his boat. Like he had 2 Super Bowl rings, national championship in college. Like maybe he just was like, there's nothing else for me to do there, and I like my boat.
Yeah.
And I'll laugh at Howie Long 20 times a year. Right. I don't care. It's not funny ever. I like Howie Long. I shouldn't have picked on him. Yeah. Strahan, just
whatever,
I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll pretend your joke. I'll pretend Terry Bradshaw is funny for 20 Sundays.
I don't know how I have sounded about this when it's come up other times. It's something we've talked about in the past. Those guys leaving that and going there and still, I assume, like being happy, satisfied, fulfilled, whatever it is you might be looking to do in a second act in your professional life, which is, kind of what that is, right? I mean, you were coaching football, you got to the pinnacle, you won the Super Bowl. All right, what now? And it's possible that I was sort of snobby and looking down on it at some other point, but I have grown. If that's right, I'm not sure that it is, but I really admire someone who can be wired the way I think you have to be wired to be successful in the coaching field, to not have it dominate your life, like to be able to adjust to, you know what? I like being around for Cowher, I think the wife and his wife, there was an illness in there too, but like,
Kay.
I'm there for we have a good life. She likes me being around. I like being around. The kids are in college. I can go visit. Whatever it is, like you're freed up, and that you can find that you don't need the adrenaline that comes with the working the 20-hour days or whatever, sleeping in the office and all that. Just the rush of preparing and then 60 minutes on Sunday or 3 hours on Sunday, like did I do a good job or not, and then doing it all again. Like to be able to detach from that and not, I don't know, miss it so badly that you need to go back, I think it's really, that is some personal development like that I'm impressed by at middle age. These guys figured out how to change that. And so, because, I mean, on one hand, someone like me who's not driven to that degree, like, yeah, the boat, idiot. Just stay on the boat. You got all the money you need. You're fine. But, you miss the, something inside you might still be craving that routine, the tension, the pressure, like all of it. It's life on the high wire, and to be able to adjust well enough that you're seemingly not, you're not ever you never even tried it again. Maybe you talked to a team or two a time or two, but you never got all the way back in, and I think it's admirable, I think, from a personal just evolution standpoint.
Fair. I wouldn't want to judge these guys individually. It's more just for me a stereotype. And, Cowher's persona, so hard-edged and, like, how do you end up in the CBS studio and just, like it? So no disrespect to anything you said. I feel like, maybe it's just like, okay, well, this is easier. Maybe that's not how he I mean, he would never say it that way. It is easier. It's not hard at all.
Right.
He's somebody that every time he's cued to talk, I'll tell you exactly what he's going to say. It's always the same obvious sort of points, and like there's no really any added value for me watching. That's why I don't watch it, because it's like those guys sort of just throw the ball around and you know what it's going to be, and it's mostly meaningless. It's just amazing that you could people, I've already said it and you've said it too, like that personality type that I think you need, the drive that you need to be able to succeed, to be able to even make it to that level as a coach. Where does that go? Maybe you take up wood splitting or something. Maybe you take up some other hobby that fulfills that competitive streak, or just what? I don't know. Like McDermott, I'll say this and then the next thing. He doesn't outwardly have the kind of personality. He can be funny, like he can be dry and funny, but he doesn't sort of have that obvious drawing power, if you will, as a football celebrity.
Yeah, I don't think he's fitting right in on a studio show.
No, but
and be like,
knows?
Sean McDermott's on there.
But who knows? Like,
yeah,
he's somebody that probably would qualify to get a chance at it if he wanted to do it, and maybe he would just sort of show a little bit more of himself, and a few one-liners can get you pretty far, and then then you're doing that. He sounds like he has his mind somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which is getting back on the sideline.
Yeah, I mean, today, I suspected it around the time of the draft when he, you could have also perceived him dropping in on NFL Network and ESPN. I mean, he made the rounds around draft time.
Yeah.
That you could have perceived that as him testing the media waters, right? Like, let me go get it and sit with Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissaro, and we'll talk for 15 minutes. And these people, not just ESPN or NFL Network, but everyone is going to see this. So I'm auditioning to an extent. Like, can I hold my own? Can I be glib? Can I be funny? Can I be off script funny? But I thought he was just sort of, to me, I saw that as, hey, I'm still out here at teams. Like, remember me? Like that's what that was to me, more than to me an audition. So today, though, the talk or whatever this newest appearance dropped. I don't know. I just know I came across it today. Him talking about innovative new scheme and whatever. I mean, there's no question where his head's at. He's planning on coaching, and it sounds like he expects to get opportunities. This offseason.
I hope to see it. It'd be a fun story.
Yep.
Here's Tim next. Hi, Tim.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
You talked about the games that you went to that was could be your favorite. I remember one game, and I'm not sure if it was the Rams. It was a Thursday night game. Renee Odoms stole the ball from the guy and ran the other way, and no one knew that he had the ball. Was that the Rams?
That was the Raiders, and it was the week after the Denver game. It was two. I always think of Glenn Parker for this because I used to know Glenn pretty well, and he was on those teams. And one of the times we talked to him on this show, he talked about those 2 weeks as being like the most important weeks in the team's evolution. Like that they came back like they did and scored 3 touchdowns in 72 seconds or something, or whatever.
I want to say 77.
77, a minute 17. Yeah, okay.
Minute 17?
Yeah, I think that's right. Against Denver, and then the next week, yes, this play with Odoms, there's a blocked punt in there, too, by Tasker, and that was the Raiders, yeah.
It was, that play was right in front of him, so no one knew that Odoms had the ball. They were wondering why he was running the other way.
Right.
Willie Gault.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks. Yep,
I was there that night. Play-by-play. Skip Carey. Skip Carey, Pat Hayden for TNT.
Yeah.
And when Tasker blocks the punt and J.D. Williams runs it in, Carey's call is, they did it again. He did it again. Like that. It's good.
Yeah. All right.
I was in the upper deck, and the play would have been like sort of right down in front of me on the right sideline or the Raiders' left sideline. It's a good one. You and I are going to see the Raiders.
We are. I have Raiders tickets in my phone.
Yeah,
I
need that.
My
You have
wallet.
mine?
My wallet. I've got a bunch of concert tickets. I got Pirates, Red Sox tickets, and now I've got Raiders tickets.
If you need me to hold,
they're Bills tickets.
I'm going too.
Yep.
Week 6. How about this?
I know.
You and I have never. We went to Cooperstown, but we drove back. Right? Is that the farthest we've ever traveled together? Is Cooperstown for the gala?
Well, I mean, we flew to the Super Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowls,
3
yeah,
times.
of course.
There.
Yeah. Houston, Jacksonville, Detroit.
The first 3 years we were together, we did that. But
that's a lifetime ago.
But that's right. I mean, it's a long time. It's 20 years ago. So it's been a long time since we had a roadie. But we're going to Vegas. We're going to do a show from Vegas, and we're going to go see some football.
Vegas just keeps coming back into my life. There have been many times when I've said I'm never going back there. I went there a few times in my 20s, and the last time I remember leaving Las Vegas, if you will, and being on the plane, looking down on the city, I'm like, I don't need to come back here. There's too many other places. And it didn't always treat me great. And then I ended up going back there for fantasy drafts a few years ago. And I did 3 years in a row, the bare knuckle and all of that. Thursday night would be on with you from my hotel room, those trips. And the same thing, like when I was leaving the last time, like, I don't think I need, there's too many other places. Now we're going for work.
Right.
I'll show you around.
Yeah.
You've been there too, but
it's been a while. I was there in, I think, April of 2008.
You saw Dean Martin
for
the last time you were in Las
For some
Vegas.
drag racing. And I was there with my wife, I think almost exactly 10 years prior to that. She wasn't my wife at the time. We would be married, 14 months later.
Well, you go to Vegas on a date like that, and then it just comes together quickly.
Yeah, that's right. Tom Jones. Tom Jones did the trick. That's what got my wife to marry
Has that
me.
happened yet up here?
Tom
We haven't missed that, have we?
I don't know.
Oh, Welsh superstar Tom Jones. Oh, baby. Yeah, so we'll see some of you out there maybe.
Yeah, that all came together today. Like, it's all done. We've got
all
plane
done.
tickets. We've got hotel stuff arranged through a sponsor, and then we got tickets to the game.
Yep. Be fun. Golf. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we could rent clubs. I'm not
The
gonna,
tables?
I don't think we're going to bring clubs.
Poker?
I won't be doing any of that.
Not any? None?
Do you know who I am?
I do, but, I mean, no?
No.
Not once? You won't
No.
set foot in a...
I don't. I'm not going to cop to not going to set foot, but it's not.
Sit down with $100 and see where it takes you at a blackjack table? No?
I'd rather put in a 6-leg Major
Who
League
goes to
Baseball
Vegas
parlay.
and it doesn't do that?
Me every time I go.
Yeah, apparently.
No, my wife and I did a little, slot machines, whatever. But I'm not table guy. I'm not gambler guy. I'm not a card player. I just don't. It's not my thing.
What about the strip, like New York, the roller coaster?
I mean,
how about the stratosphere?
I want to walk and
bungee
see
jumping
stuff, but I'm whatever. Yeah.
Shows?
Oh, I mean,
yes.
You got to see what's out there.
Look at
if there's something. If there's something. See, now I got to look. I got to look what's on the Sphere calendar. There's a lot of concerts. Like, people do residencies there now, and I mean, so help me God, if Train is doing a residency while we're there, I'm going to jump out of the plane without a parachute. But like, if there's somebody that I like, that could happen.
What about Boz Scaggs at the Barbary Coast or someplace?
I would go see Boz Scaggs.
I would. I'm in. All right. Well, listen. Continue. Stay tuned for more.
Oh, it's definitely a developing situation.
Yes, it is. All right. Thanks for the call, Tim. 803-0550 if you want to join us next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. So that too. What is it about him that was it on display today in this conversation? Like, what is it about Gardner Johnson? Maybe it's just on the field. I don't know, but he's had good stats, interceptions. He's had good seasons by the numbers. What is it about him that people don't like, if I can put it that way?
Well, I would say, first of all, I would direct people to a much more in-depth conversation he had with Tim Graham back in minicamp, I believe it was. And Tim wrote about this, and he went really in-depth. And he said a lot more about Houston and the Texans. And if you want to get even more into detail about what went down there, what he felt about it, Tim Graham did an excellent piece. And he asked this same question Tim did. Like, why have you been, with all these teams? So here's my read of everything from me watching him. And I think that today was a good window into this, which is C.J. Gardner-Johnson has a very certain type of edge about him that I think you guys can see and understand. He is a really excellent football player, but that certain edge and type of player can really wear on you as an organization, as a locker room, especially if maybe things aren't going great. But he's been on, you go back in his career, Mike, you talk about the teams he's been on. Every team he's been on, everywhere. Like if he was just there for a second, they all had a winning record. 9-8's the worst record he's ever had on a team. He went to 2 Super Bowls, he's won 1. So he's helped teams win. But, man, the Eagles had him.
This will be short. We'll talk some more about the Bills and the present, the future, and the past as we get into the next hour. 803-0550 is the number. Tonight, the Hall of Fame game. Carolina, last I looked, is a 1.5-point favorite over Arizona. And NBC, Peacock, all of it tonight. Maybe we just sort of run a pick segment later just for reps?
Sure. I'll be here.
Not that much later, but
yeah.
Somewhat later. We can do that. Your Red Sox are home to my White Sox again tonight. Boston is 6 games up in the wild card. The American League is so mediocre after Boston, after 5 teams.
Yeah.
Toronto, which has been miserable this year, is 3 out with almost 2 months left. Not likely, but possible. Bison's home at 6:35. Back to the Bills and other stuff after sports next on WGR.
Well, but we don't want this guy on our team anymore. Guess what? They realized they couldn't live without him. They brought him back. And then they won a Super Bowl. And they said, we don't want him again. So to me, it feels a little bit like a Stephon Diggs type of situation where why does Stephon Diggs go from team to team? He has this personality that wears on you, and after a while, you're like, man, I've kind of had enough of it. But, man, you love when he's on your team. He gives you an edge. He's a really good football player, and it's just a super interesting dynamic.
Diggs now on his 4th team in 4 years.
Yeah.
Bills, Houston, New England, and Washington.
I wonder if it's just like he I think there might be a window into him from what occurred with you guys today. Like, he might just be a guy who's got a real pretty sturdy idea of how everything should be. And if anything isn't the way that he thinks it should be, he's probably not going to be shy about letting you know.
Uh-oh.
Right? Like, if that's teammates, if that's coaches, is the cafeteria, like, who knows what, right? But just like he just can't keep it in. Like, why is this like this? I am ashamed. I can be this way about certain things, and I've gotten better as I've gotten older, but I wish I would have been better at it 20 years ago when my kids were little, because why is this here? Why is it? And I don't know, but that seems to me like in his head he can't really rectify something that's so obviously wrong being wrong. I have a feeling, and like that, I think can wear people out.
and I think to that point, one thing I've heard about him and his style and his play at various places he's been is he can freelance a little too much, and maybe play out of structure. But I'll tell you this, guys, the further away from the ball that guy is, the better he is sometimes because he can freelance and he can go get the ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you just put him in center field and say, go get interceptions, that's what he does best. And I think he knows that. That's what he does best. So being on a team that will allow him to do that, I think it'd be great. But he also signs 1-year deals, right? Because teams are like, okay, we're going to bring this guy in and then we're going to see how it goes. And to that point, he signed a 1-year deal. He has this injury from Saturday. sometimes guys would just like, yeah, I'm not going back out there for a couple weeks, right? I mean, he was out there today.
Right.
He loves football. He exudes football. That's the one thing about CJ, I will tell you, that no doubt I have learned here, getting to cover him for the last few months. You can say all you want about his boisterousness, his attitude, the way he talks. That guy loves football. He wants to play football, and he wants to make plays.
Gardner Johnson out of Florida came in with the Saints and has bounced around. I was sort of cringing during Bulldog's, analysis because I am that way. And I think there is just if I may, there is another side to that coin, because you do damage sometimes to relationships and you make your life more complicated by speaking up. But then if you to soften that and to get along better as you get older, you stop doing that. But it eats me up inside because I know I'm right. I mean, sometimes at least. And to not say it just because you want an easier ride is very frustrating and depressing too. There's no winning. It's a curse.
Yeah, I'm just taking a shot at it. I mean, I have no idea if I'm correct about him, but about him.
You know it's true about yourself.
Yes.
And it's definitely true of me.
Yeah. Can I make one more point about this?
Sure.
The other day, Deion Dawkins said, when everything happened with CJ, we asked him about Deion. And Deion said, he's the teammate I never knew I needed. And what do you mean by that? He's like, he shows you that you can be expressive and be yourself, and Deion wants to be that way. We know Deion can be that way. So I just find it interesting, the dynamic that he brings to this.
Back to the practice field today for the Buffalo Bills after having yesterday off, and there was some good injury news right away. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was back and was a full participant as he continues to recover from what is thought to be a calf injury. And then Deion Walker, who was participating off to the side for the past 2 days, was back in an elbow brace today. And for more on practice, Sal Capaccio has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car & Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million. We do have football tonight. It is the Hall of Fame game. Kickoff at 8 p.m. It's between the Panthers and the Cardinals. For Carolina, it's going to be Kenny Pickett who gets the start at quarterback, while for Arizona, it'll be rookie Carson Beck. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, it's a 2-year, $44 million extension for him. And the Texans, they signed linebacker Henry To'o to a 2-year, $16 million extension. For baseball, Mets took down Cleveland 13-5 earlier this afternoon. The Blue Jays are currently at the Cubs. Toronto is up late in that one, 2-0 in the ninth. And later tonight, Bison's home versus Norfolk at 6:35. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't think Michael's ever done drugs.
It's Mike Schopp.
I don't know if anyone's ever offered him any.
Let's go over some of the symptoms of marijuana use, shall we? You tell me who this sounds like.
It's the Bulldog.
Slow moving, inattentive, dull, constantly snacking, shows a lack of motivation.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
So I'll bring you right inside here. Bulldog has, as usual, as you may be able to tell if you're watching the stream, 2-3 monitors up. And one is his so far unsuccessful, but I still remain optimistic attempt to buy tickets to see Metallica at the Sphere.
Oh, I could buy tickets to see Metallica for us to see Metallica at the Sphere.
Us.
But it looks like the lousiest seats. First of all, the Sphere, it's sold out. The show, everything sells out. It's Las Vegas. It's an incredibly unique one-off venue.
Lance Burton.
Anyway, so no tickets available at the Sphere online box office. Oh no, time expired on my. I'm on a secondary market site. And what looked to be the worst seats in the building, which I know would still be incredible because it's an immersive 360 experience, are $1,500 a piece.
Listen, I believe in you.
So that's a little outside of what I would be.
I don't think I want to go, but no, I mean, we're gonna have some of that on this trip.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to play Pai Gow.
I am not.
And I don't think I want to go to Metallica for any amount of money.
Right.
But, we're going to have something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of friends there.
They are.
We're going to know a lot of people.
They are. We are. They're playing on Thursday and Saturday while we're there. They're playing a longer run than that, but they're playing a lot of dates there.
We're going to the Bills game on Sunday.
On Sunday. So Saturday and Thursday are, they're free. We're getting there Thursday morning.
Also, the Golden Knights host games on Thursday and Saturday. I looked.
All right.
Calgary and Pittsburgh.
Okay.
If you want to see that place.
That's an option.
Anyway, the point was going to be, he's got that scene over here looking into Metallica and the whole thing. And then you have another screen, and I walked behind you after the last break. I'm like, who's that? Is that Chris Nowitzki? I thought it might have been the concussion guy. But it's not.
Charles Robinson is who that is. And I came across a tweet from him, quick check-in, announcing the launch of NFLBlueBook.com, working on, for different outlets during the season, but a large focus will be on building out NFL Blue Book moving forward. And what I've gathered, I stumbled on this before finding. It was a moment in here, by the way. Like, I went to the Sphere website to just scroll the calendar and see who was going to be there when we were there.
That was cool.
And I yelled. There were swear words. We were off the air.
You think so?
MFing Metallica is there while we're there. Like, oh, my God. And then I saw the prices. Anyway, so I'm back to Charles Robinson. NFLBlueBook.com.
What a transition.
What I've this is my life. What I've gathered so far is that I don't know if this is the main objective, but something he's going to be doing here is doing deep dives on all the teams and their drafting histories and the sorts of players that they've gravitated towards. Like, is there a trend? Does this team prioritize this over that and that over this and whatever? And part of the intro is like, yes, the NFL is one league. But what I have come to believe from, talking to people with different teams, that it's like 32 different countries under one umbrella. Like, they've all got just different methods and different things that they are prioritizing. And I think that sounds super intriguing. So I don't know how often, I don't have how often he'll be building that out or how long it will take to build that out. Mm-hmm. But sounds like a pretty, I think, very interesting concept.
Well, do you want to talk about that then? Like, I'm sure a real draft expert could tell you certain things about Brandon Beane's drafts that I couldn't. Types. That's part of what you said, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's in the secondary or wherever, like certain traits that he's drawn to in players. Physical traits,
mm-hmm.
if not also other ones, intangibles. But it's kind of always a good subject. The draft, the Bills and the draft, Beane and the draft. I mean, where are we at going into this season with this? When McDermott was fired and the Bills announced they were hiring promoting Brady and also promoting Bean. I mean, that was pretty big deal. Of course, it was a big deal. That was pretty controversial, I think, at least in the fan base. Like, well, how did that happen? It's funny. McDermott, I think overall, going into last year, I think a lot of people were, and this is always true, but a significant percentage of the fan base was kind of like sort of prepared for, all right, well, maybe this year, if it doesn't work out, that's it for Sean McDermott. That was me. I said last year when I needed to be prompted usually because I didn't want to make a campaign out of it. But what's it going to take to get you to want to make a coaching change? And I said, another year like we've had, as good as those years have been. But if they have a year where they fall short in the playoffs and they get scored on, well, what's the point? I mean, that's what has to change, and you don't get the job forever. So that's kind of what happened. I mean, there was more to their loss. There always is more to their losses in the playoffs. I
think Josh Allen owns that one more. I've argued he should get more blame than he does for previous playoff losses. That one, to me, is squarely on him.
Fair enough. I mean, sure, you can. That's fair to say. But
not that I blame him for Brandon Cooks not catching that pass, which would have made everything okay if he had caught that ball.
Put another couple yards under it.
Okay, all right. Anyway, continue. Didn't mean to derail you.
No, I was just going to say.
Just wanted to stick up for my end of that. Yeah.
I think McDermott, if there's a Q rating sort of thing that goes along, it might have started to decline. Like, you know what? I need you to do the thing that you haven't done. And then last year, he got a lot of credit for how they held up on defense, and whether that's also Jacksonville or Denver even in the playoffs. And then he goes, and Bean gets the promotion. And that seemed to bother a lot of fans. That fans have, what's Bean on this chart? Kind of a steady decline. Fans are waiting for a draft pick to really hit in the last few years. And that squarely is Coleman, that's Kincaid to an extent, that's Elam the year before. Like, those are their last three first picks before Hairston, who got hurt, and now before TJ Parker, who I'm not sure what to expect this year. But I think a lot, if you went to a bar tonight and got into a conversation about Brandon Bean, the draft is where people usually get to first.
Yeah.
And where are the stars? Like, where are the good players?
Where are the stars? Where are the difference-making players? And how do I have no cap room without a closet full, or at least like a couple of guys on defense, maybe a skill player on offense outside of Josh that are like sticks of dynamite, right? I mean, maybe DJ Moore will be that. They're paying him like that. They paid a price to acquire him that you hope. You should have an expectation that he's going to be a difference maker, what they paid to get him, and then what they're paying him. Overall, the cost of having him is large. So he should be someone who makes a difference for you.
Well, that is only really necessary if you don't have the player from the draft in the first place.
Right.
So you have to spend the draft pick and the big free agent type money to get if you will, even DJ Moore. Like, we're not talking about CeeDee Lamb or somebody like this. So.
Yeah, if Keon Coleman had hit, or if they had hit on all receiver that year, and it's not like there's a bunch of guys that were around where they were picking that have smashed. Lad McConkey might be the best guy that they didn't pick that has had so far that looks like a real dangerous player, I think, right? Leggett, nothing. Xavier Worthy, like whatever fear bunker I was living in with him, like that's been, it's not like, whoa, I got my guy.
That list goes on.
Yeah.
Jalen Polk just retired. He's on that list.
Yeah.
Poor Pearsall.
Right.
Getting shot and then a knee injury that won't leave him alone.
Right.
Out for the season already.
So, if someone, he'd be on year 3 of a rookie contract. We'd be like, wow, great value. But that hasn't happened. It said they couldn't even trust him to dress him for every game last year. Instead, so yeah, I mean, I think you gotta hit on enough of that. Like, I think it's entirely objectively fair to look at them and go, you're spending all this money, And like none of it is top of market except for Allen at their position. But spread out, it's like you got a linebacker that's making whatever Bernard is making, and Shakir's making 15, and Palmer's making 12, and now Moore's making, 29. Oof. Rousseau's in the 20s. Knox is whatever. I don't know Dawkins' figure off the top of my head, but, it's not top of market, but it's, it's in the teams. And you just don't have meter movers, really, despite spending all the money you can spend to such an extent that you can't freely go out and add another player if he were to be available, even, that has a big cap number.
Because you did that with Moore, I guess. I mean,
yeah, right.
Deals get bigger than that, but
that's right.
You did do that.
Yep. So, but that's not even diving into the, into the weeds like Charles Robinson, I think, is going to go. I think for a while, tell me if this sounds familiar to you. I think Sal has said this to us over the years. I don't think he's said it in a while, but that the Bill, or maybe Trapasso or Joe Marino over the years, that the Bills liked guys who they're not crazy about guys who played 1 year or 2 years. Like they want a body of work. I want some experience. I can trust that you've developed. We've seen you get better. We watched you when you were a freshman, and now we watch you when you were a junior, and we can see, how your game has grown, and that we can see a track where it's going to continue to progress, and you will, you're our third-round pick, but we think you're going to be a regular player for us. And that was a piece of it that they liked, a longer time in college than, somebody who just shows up and comes out of junior college, smashes, and then declares for the draft and is a top 10 pick, which, does happen in the league. I feel like the Bills have, for the most part, at least 3-4 years ago, I think that was pretty true of them. I don't know if it still is, because I'm not positive that it still tracks, but that's sort of that's a sort of a bell that went off when I saw this tweet from Charles Robinson and then read a little bit about what he's trying to do. I wonder if that piece is something that will be, written about and uncovered, if you will, when you do a deep dive on the Bills.
I am very interested in the notion that, as you put it, or maybe as he put it, that it's like 32 different countries.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's one country. Indivisible, under God. I mean, it's one country. It's like one, I'm sure I'm wrong. I wonder if it's 32, but it's not one. That there's sort of like one set of principles. I mean, within that, different taste, different traits, interest in traits, different, needs. Bean, need it be said, is drafting at the end of the draft every year, which is some credit to him. Mm-hmm. You can't remove him from the fact that the Bills are always really good. I mean, obviously, right? So you can't do that. But he's always drafting at the end. And again, need it be said, much easier, even if you're in the middle one of these years. I mean, they had to get to the middle to get Allen. They did that. That's to their credit. I mean, they maneuvered to get to the point where they could draft a quarterback. If it didn't have to be Josh Allen, it was going to be one of them. So they did that. But really almost every year since, because Allen is so good and the team has been so successful, they're drafting late. So Coleman, for example, sure, you can pick out you're almost cherry picking it. Like you could pick out Ladd McConkey, who, by the way, had a pretty mid second year. Mm-hmm. But, you could do that. A lot of those guys around Coleman, though, have not been that successful.
Xavier Legette.
Pearsall.
Right.
Legette might be near the end already. Like in Carolina, that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And then those picks with Polk, again, after Coleman. So I don't know. I don't have an easy time blasting away at Bills drafts. They are picking late. The thing that always turns me on is when they're trading up. And like this trade with the Bears last year in the second round was pretty gross. But the Bills have done their share. I mean, 2 of the last 3 years, they haven't even picked in the first round. They're moving out. Right. I think that's to their credit. I mean, the Coleman pick the process is good. They didn't want Worthy. They didn't want Legette. They didn't want Pearsall. Maybe they thought they wanted Coleman. Maybe they wanted options. Like the process wasn't the problem there. The problem, if it is one, is that Coleman has just not been consistent for them yet.
Well, if you make a habit of moving down the way they have the last couple of years, is it 3? No, they didn't. I don't think they moved out of Harrison was a first-round pick draft before last.
Pick 30.
Yeah.
Was that because they were in the AFC Championship?
Yeah. But at least the moving down can help fund the moving up is all. Like it doesn't mean, you should treat those picks as they're disposable like I was willing to do with the 4th pick when the Sabres got it from Chicago. Like, just go ahead and trade it for Matthew Nyes. I don't care if it's a gross overpay. I want Matthew Nyes on my team. And that's fine. I traded Matthew Nyes for Bo Byram. Good trade. To me, that works. That's equitable. So in a certain way, acquiring extra picks only to divest yourself of them to then move up, sort of the crime pays for itself if it's a crime. Like to you, it's I don't crime is maybe big, but
No, I just think I love draft analysis. I think it's hilarious when people say, usually lots of them do right after the draft, oh, you can't grade the draft for 3 years. Well, grading the draft in 3 years is pointless because you have seasons. We don't even need to grade the draft. You want to do it right now because that's about process and that's about preferences and just sort of how you went about it. If you take, I just think like it's usually mixed. If you take the Elam draft, so in Kyer Elam, that's a bust's bust. I mean, that was a guy that they really didn't trust to have on the field. That's a 23rd overall pick where you've got lots of good players going around him. You've got a defensive head coach, couldn't make it work.
To the extent that when he had to play in an AFC title game, he's maybe one of the main reasons you got beat.
Right. So,
God, it's hard to do worse than that.
That's an F. The rest of that draft, Cook.
Sure is an F.
Cook, they traded down twice in the second round and picked Cook. By the way, the reigning NFL rushing leader.
Okay.
A?
Yeah.
A or A+. I mean, Cook. Trading down twice for the rushing champ.
I think that's an A+.
Round 3, Bernard. Fine. B. Fine. 3rd round. End of the 3rd round.
Uh-huh.
5th round, Shakir. What's that?
That's your leading receiver.
That's your leading receiver. Then you have Ariza, special circumstances. Then you have Benford.
A++.
So how do you grade that draft? Your 1st round pick was a total failure for your franchise.
And helped get you beat in an AFC title game.
Yeah, I mean, well, Benford helped you win games in the same draft from the 6th round. Luke Tenuta, Balin Spector after that. Spector has been at least relevant, somewhat.
Yeah.
But that's a 7th round pick anyway.
Yeah.
How do you – obviously you graded on a curve. Your 1st round pick is the most important by far, but it's also mid to late. So it's not like picking top 5.
Benford's one of the all-time draft value picks ever. I mean, he's to me he's earning that second contract. It's not. I know he's not on the top 10 list or whatever. Like we went through a couple of weeks ago. It was list season.
Oh,
and like he's not. But I mean, to me he's been excellent. I don't know what will happen if he's asked to do things differently now because he's primarily. I mean, he's been playing for Sean McDermott. He's been a zone-heavy corner. And Leonard is thought to be more man-heavy, so we'll see if, how Hairston and Igbinosun do that. They're both thought to be more ready to play man. Not that I'm saying Benford's getting replaced. I'm just saying, he's your number one guy, and the scheme change. When I talk about the scheme change, I should even, say, how does that work for him? That's a big deal. He's made his bones in this league, his reputation in this league, playing a certain way. That doesn't mean he can't do it at all, but it remains to be seen, how well he does if they ask him to do, something he hasn't really done a lot of in the NFL.
I think from my perspective, here's this Charles Robinson is going to deep dive it, and I just follow it casually. Almost no team in the league really has a particular reputation for drafting. The Rams have one. The Rams like to sell their picks. There's another way they put it on T-shirts. They're kind of known for that. It's not like they always only do it. This year they had 2 firsts. Did they use them both? I don't know. They had Atlanta's first and then their own. Maybe they They spent one on.
Well, they used the quarterback. They drafted that Simpson.
Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
But they used the other one in a trade, I think. It doesn't matter. They have a reputation. Philadelphia, Baltimore, who else? Like, they have reputations for drafting really well. Baltimore seems to get the annual, that's the best player on the board. Great job. And a lot of times that's been right.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton.
Yep.
Linderbaum even maybe. Like, a lot of times that's been right. Philadelphia gets that kind of credit.
Philadelphia's made, like, savvy trades that, like, you know, they ended up with a high pick. I think that's how they got the lineman they just extended. There's two big linemen there that, Jalen Carter, that's the one. There's Jordan Davis, too, is another defensive tackle I think they have.
That's one that they just sort of, okay, we'll draft him.
Yeah.
He's on the board, we'll just draft him.
But they had, it's not like they had a terrible year, I don't think. I think they had the pick because of a savvy trade they made. And so, you know, the team that they traded with was in the top 10 and like, okay, you know, we've been great here, but we can, you know, we get 7 overall or whatever he was. And they did that. And that guy had red flags and he fell a little bit. So it all just sort of came together for them there. I think they acquired that pick in a trade. I'm not positive now. I might be wrong on that. But that's a part of the Roseman thing. They've moved around the board and he's been in position to really capitalize.
Well, do you know Charles Robinson? I do not. Can he get you in to see Metallica? Would he come on this show and discuss his findings?
I've already closed out the tweet.
Is he with anybody? I know the name. Was he?
No,
Yahoo?
I think what's happened here is I think he recently. I'm guessing this is like a new independent venture.
Okay.
Because as I got eventually to a subscriber page, which I think I'm curious. I want to look more into what he wants to do because I was reading it and looking at Metallica tickets at the same time.
Yes.
And so I don't exactly have my hands around it, but it might be something to me that's easily worth $80 a year or whatever it might cost. But I'm not sure what his background is, but I'm the way this looks like I just got let go from somewhere and this is my thing now.
Yeah. Well, make it work.
Yeah.
Sometimes life does that to you. Then you can sort of, if you can get off the mat, you go and you do what you think is your calling. I don't know this guy. I know of him.
Covered the league.
I love the subject.
Covered the league for 25 years. It's not just draft centric, but that's a part of it.
I love the subject.
Yep.
I anything, maybe that can get a little bit esoteric, but anything draft history, trades that weren't made, picks that Peter King would write these columns, how the San Francisco-Chicago trade year with Solomon Torres and Trubisky, is that the name, Torres, where the picks 2 and 3 were traded for each other that year. I eat that stuff up. Send it my way.
Yep.
Send Metallica tickets to Bulldog. Send me anything like that in terms of NFL, any sport.
He was at
history.
Just to close it out, he was at Yahoo since 2004. It doesn't say he was. He doesn't say he was recently let go, but I'm guessing that's what that is.
Bottom line is for me, I think it's really shallow to just slap Brandon Beane with not a good drafter or anything of the sort.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are hits and misses as there are for almost everybody that lasts. And Beane is coming up on a decade. I mean, you got to give him some credit for doing that. You want shinier objects on this list of picks, obvious names, which you don't have. And that's a fair critique, I suppose. 803-0550 for us, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. This is WGR.
After having the day off yesterday, the Bills did get back to work today, and they had the return of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was back and a full participant. He's continuing his recovery from what is thought to be a calf injury he suffered last Saturday. Deion Walker was also back. He was in an elbow brace. And for more on this morning, Sal Capaccio has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your board of attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-MILLION. We do have football tonight. It is the Hall of Fame game. Kickoff at 8 p.m. It is between the Panthers and the Cardinals. For Carolina, it'll be Kenny Pickett who gets to start at quarterback. And for the Cardinals, it is rookie Carson Beck. Now to the running backs, who continue to get paid. And the last one to do so is the Lions with Jahmyr Gibbs. 3 years, $67.5 million deal. It could be worth up to $75.75 million, and it does include $51.5 million guaranteed. He is now the highest paid running back in the NFL, but the Colts also got running back Jonathan Taylor done. 2 years, $44 million extension. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's been great, man. He brings the aggressiveness to the room. He brings the talkiness to the room. Helps make sure we all on the same page, that we all a brotherhood, we all fighting together on the field, that we're not going to miss no rep, miss no steps, that we have a perfect room, and that we're keeping the standard.
Jalen Kilgore. So if you're watching today, by the way, wanted to mention this at least once, this picture to my left of a scene from The Natural. Can you see it? Robert Redford and young Bobby Savoy in the movie. Roy Hobbs and Bobby Savoy. George Vilkosh is the actor who recently died. I got a nice email from his nephew, Arthur. And he was a fan of WGR's and, loved Buffalo sports, Natural filmed in Buffalo in 1984. And I like the Savoy Special, Bulldog. Like that's branded into my brain like the branding into the bat, as it happens, Savoy Special. And so he was nice enough to send me this picture, and I wanted to acknowledge that. So, The Natural. Welcome back to the show, The Natural. Right. I still don't understand why they pitched to Hobbs in the ninth.
There it is.
I still don't understand what kind of managing, even in the 1930s.
Speaking of long lost opens, there's one that would get.
Did you not see the movie Pirates? There's one guy on that team. Okay? There's one guy on the team, number 9. And I don't care how much blood is caked to his jersey. It's the bottom of the 9th for the pennant. 2 on. Eesh. I'll deal with Duke McGuire, whoever's on deck. I'll take my chances with old Duke. I mean, I'm just not pitching to Roy Hobbs. How do you do that? We talked about Barry Bonds recently because Filippone had a reference to a Pirates pitcher who was struggling, and he said even Barry Bonds had a bad year. And I looked up Barry Bonds, and he never had a bad year.
Right, yeah.
What's amazing about him is the walks. Well, among other things. Like, even into his 40s, that guy just, like, he had a season, I think, where he was on base 60% of the time, Bonds. And I think of him because he would be walked with the bases loaded. And the Giants probably had somebody better than Duke. I mean, they probably had Jeff Kent just went to the Hall of Fame.
The Duke.
Nothing against Duke.
The Duke
I don't think he
slander.
played himself in the movie.
No.
But he's in it. I admire him that he was in the movie.
Yep.
So the Giants probably had a little bit of a better team than the Knights. And if you were to walk Barry Bonds, you'd have more trouble. But they would walk Barry Bonds with the bases loaded sometimes. Imagine that.
Or to load the bases, yeah, but yeah.
Or to load the bases, but even they're already
walk in a run. Right, I'd rather walk in a run than let you hit.
That's not apocryphal, is it? Like that happened with Bonds.
I believe it did happen, yeah.
And so I think with Hobbs, I mean, single ties it. If they walk Hobbs in the 9th, you with me? Anybody?
No.
2 outs, 2 runs down. This is it. This is the 1-game playoff for the pennant. If they walk Hobbs on purpose to bring up whoever the Joe Charbonneau character, whoever the next guy is, does Pop run for Hobbs?
Not the Michael Madsen character, because he died
He's
earlier
dead.
in the movie. He ran into the center field fence. Yeah, he wasn't going to be able to come back from the dead.
Great point. Not only is this team the thinnest team in contending history in baseball,
their center fielder died.
Right, Bump Bailey's dead.
He died.
Their
their
slugger is dead.
He died playing baseball.
He ran through the wall and it killed him.
Yeah.
How would that kill you?
Head injury.
Like a head wound? He's bled to death in the outfield?
Yeah.
How would that kill you? The wall, I mean, it's funny. It's death, but it's still funny. The wall is so thin that you could just he's a big lumbering outfielder. He runs toward the wall. He runs right through it. There's not much there.
No, there's not. No.
Unless nails were sticking out.
Well,
unless brads were sticking out of the wall.
Brads.
Then how does that kill you? You could just get the one in the wrong spot.
Yeah, right.
Was it that bad at that place where the nails were in the fence?
They didn't really explain it.
No, they did not.
They left you hanging there.
You just see him go through the wall, and then the other fielders are out there waving in, "This is bad, this is bad," and then he's dead.
Yeah.
And then there's a funeral, and it's black and white, and he's dead.
Yeah.
Would they run for Hobbs?
Did they? How did they do in the movie?
Thank you for this picture.
Did that happen? That you see him run into the fence?
Yes.
And then I hope this is right. Did the thing with the newspaper spinning, and then there's just it stops and there's a headline: Bump Bailey dead after collision or something.
I think what I remember is there's a newsreel and there's a helicopter or an airplane flying over the field, and the stadium is packed and they're all lined up, and it's like a funeral, like a memorial service.
So it's like a news. Okay, so I'm because the spinning newspaper thing is a device used to transition from series to series, scene to scene in the movie.
It's when they're really hot.
Yeah, woo!
Knights have won 15
Knights win
straight.
again.
Knights win again.
Newspaper spinning.
Exactly. Or it's when maybe before this they're really in a slump.
Yeah.
And nothing is going right.
Knights drop another one.
Knights drop another.
Yes. Spinning newspaper.
My favorite line in the movie.
Do people know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the spinning. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Citizen Kane. News on the march. Something like that. Favorite line in the movie. Love it so much. They're going terribly. And what have we got? First and second, no outs. Right? Knights are up at home. First and second, no outs. There's the pitch. Strike 3. It's a double steal. Throw to second. They tag out the guy trying to steal second. And then the guy who was on second is sort of walking back to second, and they tag him too. Triple play. And the Richard Farnsworth, what's his name? The assistant coach, the assistant coach.
I don't know.
Says to Pop Fisher, kind of a bad play there, which really does sum it up. If you walk into a triple play,
right?
I think that's probably not unfair criticism.
Yeah, it's a bad job.
That was kind of a bad play.
Yeah.
That team.
If
they walk, one more time, I'll try.
Do these people practice?
One more time, I'll try. If they walk Hobbs, does he get lifted for a runner? How could he not? And then if you go to extras, you take your chances. He's out of the game. I know it's fiction. I know it's not a real team, a real story. I know. That's fair. I don't know, though. How do you pitch to him? You pitch to him because it's a movie.
That's right.
In the book, he strikes out, by the way.
That's so
it's
sad.
not even the same story as the book. The book is weird.
Kind of dark.
It's very dark. It's very strange, and he strikes out. What's that? Couldn't make a movie about that.
No.
Thanks again to Arthur for this picture of his uncle and Robert Redford. We're watching baseball today. You got time for one more baseball take?
Sure.
Where are you going, right? You trying to buy those tickets?
Yeah, I have a baseball thing I wanted to mention that I brought up to you yesterday, so I'll do that on the tail end of this.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The Phillies, I came across this. I don't know. Maybe I can find the whole thing to get all the specifics, like the names of the guys that I don't know that, it matters a lot. But the Phillies, it does. And I have it right here at hand here. So I did. Now, why don't I see it? The Phillies on Sunday are going to have an on-field ceremony featuring a tribute to it's inspired. I guess they're playing in the Field of Dreams game. I didn't know this.
Okay. In Iowa.
Yeah. The Phillies are going to honor. Is that at this game? I'm trying to.
I think it's coming up.
Okay. Anyway, the Phillies have 4 former players, all of whom pretty recent, 2006, 2008, 2022, and another player from 2022, who were on the team's roster, like dressed for games, were on the bench, but never got in a game. They're all Moonlight Graham from the movie Field of Dreams, who actually got up to bat, but he sacked flies, so he doesn't have an at bat, so he's got he doesn't exist. Even though he had a plate appearance.
He was a real player.
Right.
In 1905, he was a real player. And he had one game, and he did not register an at-bat.
Right.
For whatever that was.
So
in the movie, it's a sack fly.
That's how it's depicted in the movie. So they've got these 4 guys, Tim Gradoville, a catcher from 06, Tim Leahy, a pitcher from 08, Jeff Singer, and Will Toffee, an infielder and a pitcher, respectively. I said that backwards. But anyway, from 2022. They're going to have these 4 guys come out and throw the ceremonial first pitch, which I think is it's a pretty cool idea to me. That they're going to – these guys, they never got another opportunity to play Major League Baseball. They were on the Phillies. It does make a distinction here in what I've read that they didn't – participate in any regular season games. I don't know if any of them did anything in the playoffs or not for the Phillies, or if the Phillies were even in the playoffs any of those years that I mentioned. But nonetheless, it's a pretty cool thing for them to do, have those 4 guys come out and do that.
Especially if it's at that field in Dyersville, Iowa.
I had missed that part. So they're finally going to take the field in front of Phillies fans as part of a ceremony of first pitch. So that doesn't sound like it's in Iowa, but it's maybe to promote that they're going to play in Iowa eventually.
Okay.
Anyway, what was your bit? You had another.
No, I'll save my other one because I need more time. But I'll cram in Larry Yount right now.
Go ahead with Larry Yount.
You know this one?
No, I don't.
Robin Yount. You know who that is?
I'm familiar with the name, yes.
Robin Yount. 11,000 at-bats. 20 years. All for Milwaukee. Hall of Famer. 2,856 games. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a career. His brother, Larry, his older brother, Larry, they should get him for this. His story is he was a pitcher for Houston, and he was called in to the game in the 9th inning in a game against Atlanta for his major league debut. Larry Yount, before Robin Yount was even in the major leagues. He predated his brother. Larry Yount is called in from the bullpen in the 9th inning to pitch against the Braves. Aaron was like 3rd in line to bat against him. He blows out his arm warming up. So he's removed. He never gets to pitch, but he counts because once you're announced, like a pinch hitter is announced, that's what makes you official, and then the other team changes pitchers to go against, say, the lefty, and then somebody hits for the pinch hitter.
Right.
But the pinch hitter is used up. He's in the game.
You've used him, yeah. You can't – if you replace him with another pinch hitter, he does not get to go back in the queue.
Right. He counts as having played in that game.
Right.
Larry Yount counts as having pitched in this game, even though he never throws a pitch. He's hurt. How many pitches is it? 8? Your warm-up pitches. He blows out his arm, warming up, never makes it back.
Like on the mound.
On the mound.
Like not in the
Astrodome.
Not in the bullpen.
Right.
Right.
So he's announced into the game. He's official. He's injured in the warm-up, and he leaves, and he never makes it back. So Larry Yount's career is 1 game, no innings. Robin Yount is 2,856 games.
Right.
Is that beautiful?
Yep. I have not found when the Field of Dreams game is exactly, although I'm Googling that. The Phillies are hosting the Blue Jays on Sunday, so this game will be in Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah, that's not it.
They're playing next weekend, next Thursday, they're playing in Iowa.
Okay.
The Phillies. The Twins. They'll play the Twins there.
Okay. 2,856 games to 1.
Right.
And the one
wasn't
even a thing.
Boy, that is tough.
That's amazing.
Blow out your arm in your warm-ups.
Right? Somebody probably after that was like, I'm not warming up.
Right.
I'm ready. Still alive, Larry Yount. They should get him for this. He's perfect.
Did he ever play for the Phillies?
No, he played for Houston. He played for Houston. No, he didn't play for the Phillies. But, still. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, 803-0550. This is WGR. Caller 5 at 716-221-4WGR. That's 4947 wins a pair of tickets to see Jeff Foxworthy August 19th at the Erie County Fair Grandstand, courtesy of the Erie County Fair. How about that? Tickets are on sale now at ecfair.org. Good luck. 716-221-4WGR. Heads up to fantasy sites that grade your teams. Just a quick word to them. Stop it. So
What do you mean? I think you got to grade a draft
right after
it's over.
Good one. Yes. The point here though is, as attractive and easy as some of these sites make it, and it's fun. I did 2 last night. Both times I wanted to see how did I do. But I know what happens. These are both tournament teams where the app is not going to know what to do with that. I'm trying to win $1 million, not just beat 11 guys. Mm-hmm. And so they give you your starters grade and your depth grade for every position, including kicker. I am not drafting a second kicker. So thanks for that F. Or defense. Thanks for those 2 Fs that bury me. I mean, most teams don't either, but I don't know. I think we still need to do some work on these fantasy team grading services, because I just feel like I'm always getting buried because I don't have 2 defenses or 2 kickers or even 2 tight ends. If I'm drafting Brock Bowers in tight end premium, I'm not drafting a second one sometimes because I'm never going to play him unless it's somebody that I could use in a flex spot and I'll stream somebody for the bye week. But the premise is Brock Bowers is going to kill and I'm not going to need a second guy. So I'm going to get an A+ and an F. I'm going to get an A+ for my starter and an F for my depth. I don't know. It's getting to me. These Fs are getting to me.
Maybe you should start your own fantasy draft grading service.
I'm going to be the next Charles Robinson. And when this ends, I'll go do that.
Go out on your own. Yeah, you
if I knew anything about how to code, maybe I would, because I spend enough time on my computer doing that.
I can code. I can code like no one else.
Yeah, right. Carolina, a slight favorite tonight in the Hall of Fame game. We'll talk some more football and a little baseball, too, after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
Back to the practice field today for the Buffalo Bills, and they got some very good injury news to start. That is C.J. Gardner-Johnson being back and a full participant as he continues his recovery on what is thought to be a calf injury he suffered last Saturday. And then Deion Walker, he was back as well. He was in an elbow brace. But for more on today, Sal Capaccio has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your board attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-MILLION. There is football tonight. It is the Hall of Fame game. Kickoff at 8 p.m. It is between the Panthers and the Cardinals. Kenny Pickett gets to start at quarterback for Carolina. Rookie Carson Beck does so for Arizona. And then running backs continue to get paid as Jahmyr Gibbs gets his extension with the Lions. 3 years, $67.5 million. It could be worth up to $75.75 million. And it does include $51.5 million in guaranteed money. He is now the highest paid running back in the NFL. But the Colts also got Jonathan Taylor done. 2 years, $44 million extension for him. Then in baseball, the Mets took down Cleveland 13-5. The Blue Jays fell to Chicago 3-2. And the Bisons, they are home tonight versus Norfolk at 6:35. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
We were having a very serious conversation about mayonnaise here.
And the Bulldog.
And don't even talk to me about weed.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Dare I ask, no interest at all in dabbling on the Hall of Fame game tonight? No, none? Just sprinkling a couple of wagers?
No.
Not the slightest bit tempted? First football game of the year?
Not even a little, no. No.
Carolina 1.5, 34.5. So your implied total there, I believe, would be 18 to 16.5. Man, if that's not Ravens Steelers, I don't know what is.
I think the preseason should get half points. We should have half points in preseason games. There should be some way for us to make that work.
Well, this game will not end in a tie in regulation, one way or another. Somebody's going for 2 to get them out of there. Right? Carson Beck, okay? I mean, you probably watched him a number of times in college.
Yes.
Carson Beck.
Yeah, when he was like, in his 20s at Georgia, I watched him. Yeah.
Now he's older than that?
He's 46, and he's a rookie. Yeah.
Wow. Carson Beck to throw a touchdown pass on his first offensive drive, plus 750.
It just really feels to me like I watched him play college football when my kids were in car seats.
Carson Beck.
I know that's not right. Matthew Stafford was probably Georgia's quarterback when my kids were in car seats. But I just feel like I watched him play college football for 7 years.
Or Bo Nix, that would have been.
But same, right? Same, yeah. Anyway, yeah. No,
it couldn't happen. Plus 750. Kenny Pickett.
Oh, dude, anything could happen. I just don't give a I don't care.
How about if this game just comes out and it's a shootout? You almost did it.
I almost got all the way there.
Kenny Pickett to throw a touchdown pass on his first offensive drive, plus 600.
Wow. Sorry, I'm trying to shake that off. Knock yourself out. Have a good time.
Who is going to be on the field for Carolina? So it won't be Jonathan Brooks. They said he's not playing. Maybe Chuba Hubbard. Then what about, no Tet McMillan? I'm sure of that. No Jalen Coker. Chris Brazzell, a promising rookie receiver, is out for the year already.
Yeah, you might have looked forward to seeing him play in this game.
For sure.
Around the draft.
Brazzell?
And yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Deep threat?
Yeah.
But he's out for the year.
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah. Let me introduce you to someone named Bryson Tremaine.
All right.
Number 87 in your program, number 1 in your hearts. SF here on this depth chart, I believe, means San Francisco. I don't know. Street free agent, SF.
SF. What are you looking at, our lads?
Yeah. I'm not sure
What's his name?
What that means. Bryson Tremaine. Let me go down to they have a, no, they don't. I was looking for a, the thing that would tell
I got
me
him.
what all the stuff
A
means.
Bryson with a C. He went to Stanford. And he's been in the league.
Okay.
He played for them last year. All right, well, he's got experience. Maybe that's the name. Maybe you've found it.
Mm-hmm.
You found the key, the skeleton key tonight.
That's
is Bryson
guy.
Tremaine.
There's also a David Moore.
David Moore has been around. He's tonight. That guy's been around a long time.
He's a second. He's in this. He's second team according to this Ourlads depth chart.
So probably a starter tonight.
Yeah.
He's somebody that's been around so long as a receiver in the NFL that it's almost shocking that he hasn't been a Bill yet. One of these receivers that we just keep, dabbling in would be David Moore. He had a pretty nice year for Carolina 2 years ago. I mean, decent anyway. Was a Seahawk. Got 116 catches in the league. All right, what about Arizona? I'm taking stock of all of this. David Moore, Bryson Tremaine. I don't know about Hubbard. Like, he's a veteran. He gets paid. Would he play, or just because Brooks isn't, or would they have someone else probably? The Rasheem Blackshears of the world. Raheem Blackshear, right? Did I misspeak? Raheem Blackshear, former Bills training camp guy. I got to see your roster for training camp or preseason fantasy. I'm excited about that. I'm not even in it.
You're excited about that. I realized today that after next Wednesday, I'm off until just before the third preseason game. Not just before, but I'm missing weeks 1 and 2 of the preseason by being off.
You poor thing.
The timing of my vacation. So I'm going to have to hand that sheet off and the scoring off to, I don't know, Zach or Owen.
That's the whole league.
That's it.
Zach, and Owen.
Us, yeah.
I'm not doing it.
And look, truth be told, there was never any chance that I was going to be the one that was going to tabulate all this nonsense.
All right.
I would sooner... I got what I wanted out of it, which was 20 minutes on a summer Friday when you were on vacation.
Yes.
That was really I really wasn't that, despite my effort to keep track of the teams neatly and orderly fashion, I don't, I'm not really living it. There's no stake. We didn't commit any, units to this operation. So.
Well, how can you get excited about that?
It's hard to.
It seems like it's hard to.
It'll take a lot of effort.
I don't see anything else for player props at DraftKings for this game, like stats or anything like that. Sadly.
Sorry, I was trying to get the Arizona Cardinals depth chart and just working my way through 78,000 pop-ups on the Ourlads.
Just subscribe
site.
already.
Holy Moses.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, I guess that's
Thanks
right.
for using our site every day. Just for once, will you subscribe?
Yeah.
I have heard, and I kind of believe this. I've said this for years. Maybe not the Hall of Fame game so much, because it's an extra preseason game for these teams. It's the first one. I don't know how much it being ceremonial like it is matters. Maybe. It's just the first game. But I have heard, and I think there's some truth to it, that if you were a bettor, the preseason is a better way to make money than the regular season or the playoffs. Easier. I don't know if that's tonight. I haven't cared enough about this thing tonight to know. I am asking you who the players are,
Sure.
So I'm not here to tell you like what to do tonight, but I know friends of mine in that space will talk. They'll vouch for the preseason because if last year, the name George Holani?
I know the name, sure.
Seahawks running back, who, by the way, is getting some interest this year in fantasy because Charbonnet is hurt and Walker is gone. So they drafted Jadarian Price, pick 32, I think it was, out of Notre Dame. And they have Emmanuel Wilson, who they signed from Green Bay, and they have Holani. Last year in the preseason, I was watching. They're playing somebody, and this George Holani is just, like, killing it for Seattle. Like, that's something, if you could have known, you wouldn't know that he would do so well. But you could have known that their plan was George Holani. Like, maybe he's too good for that now. Maybe he's not. I'm not touting him for this year in the preseason or even the regular season. I'm not doing it. I'll draft Price. But anyway, if you know, and maybe, wouldn't you agree with this? Take Joe Brady or anybody. wouldn't you think they'd be more forthcoming about their roster plans for a preseason game? Are they really worried about protecting that information? I mean, in the regular season, your guys are your guys. And nobody's asking how much DJ Moore is going to play in the regular season or anything like that.
Right.
In the preseason, I feel like coaches might be more forthcoming about what they're playing. Well, he's going to play a quarter or, 2 drives or whatever. And then I'm just saying, I think it could be not impossible to find out what teams plan to do. And maybe you have to be on the inside, or maybe you just have to listen to a couple of press conferences and get it. And then you can find over-under stuff and make an educated guess. I don't see that really being the case for tonight, at least on this app I'm looking at. I don't see names. I just see sort of those long shot type, will they throw a touchdown pass in the first quarter type.
Right. Will each team kick a field goal and score a touchdown in each half?
I love that, but that is not going to be there tonight. With a total of 34.5. I mean, there's no chance of that being – nobody's betting that tonight. Great if you could.
Sure.
You'd pay $1 million. You'd pay awesome.
Right.
Nobody's expecting it.
Yeah.
All right. Because we put it out there, here's the baseball thing I wanted to say. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've said this before, but we are in – here comes football. It won't be long. It won't be the preseason probably, but it still won't – although unless there could be just some snafus that get us all talking. It won't be long before we're arguing about officiating again.
Mm-hmm.
And,
right.
Probably the opener, Bills at Texans, there'll be something.
Sure.
If they lose especially, there'll be something that was done, whether that's replay related or just a pass interference holding. There'll be some officiating issue that we'll talk about. I watch a lot. I'm watching more baseball this year than in a long time. And they've got this automated balls and strike system now, the ABS, where teams get 2 challenges a game. They tap their helmet to review a pitch. It takes only a matter of seconds.
Glad you brought this up because I have something on this that I witnessed last night. Go ahead.
Do you think you know where you think?
No, I
don't
know. I hope it's not what because I forgot about this. But go ahead. You tripped a wire for me.
Okay. Football and hockey officiating drives us insane. All the different plays, both sports, that could be called that aren't. What's this? Is this a new thing? It's always, the Sabres get 2 penalties in a row called against them. The next one's going to be on them. Like, it's just so somewhat predictable, and mistakes are everywhere. These baseball umpires are so good. You watch a game with that box and the automated balls and strikes. There are a couple guys that Michael K. will tell you miss a lot, but they're so good. And I think it's just like maybe not appreciated because now everything is about reviews.
Yeah.
But the number of pitches in a game that are right in that touching the box or not, and batters sometimes look like they want a challenge, but there's a limited amount, and is the situation worthy of it? I just come away from a lot of baseball thinking that the umpires are incredible. Behind the plate, at least. If not, they rotate, so that'd be most of them.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I might stop short of incredible, but yeah, I think I'm not monitoring. It comes up. Obviously, every game you watch, there's challenges. Each team has 2, and I think you get, as long as you get them right, you get to keep going.
Right.
Right. That's how it works. But if you miss twice, you miss once, you only have 1 left, and then you've got 1. But then once you use that second one, and if you miss on that, you're done. So
until extra innings, they give you another one.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I'm not monitoring. I don't pay attention to how often the call gets. The challenge works for either side, either the catcher or the pitcher. I can do it, or the hitter saying, that wasn't a strike or whatever. What I witnessed last night during the Pirates-Brewers game, I almost had to be that game. That was the game I was watching. The Yankee game was in a rain delay. They were on Prime last night, and it didn't start until later. I did get to it, but not until in the evening, later in the evening, 9 o'clock or so. So I had the Pirates on, and one of their hit, I don't remember who, I think a young guy, called third strike, and he challenged right away.
The batter.
The batter challenged right away.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even close. Like, it was absolutely a strike. Like, it was not in the middle of the box, but like a third of the way up from it was low. He thought it was low. It was a ball and a half in the strike zone.
It wasn't even touching the box.
Wasn't even touching the box. It was squarely in the zone.
Okay.
And the replay they showed, this was an ESPN game. I don't know who was in the booth. Mike Monaco was the play-by-play guy, and the two analysts, I'd never seen them in the booth before. But one of them, I think maybe was either a pitcher or a catcher in their career. I can't remember the context. Okay. But they showed a replay and said, like, boy, did you notice the catcher, he looked like he overframed, like he caught the ball and moved his glove up.
Brought it up.
And that is what often will catch the batter's eye. Like, if he noticed that, he's thinking the umpire got worked by the catcher and they framed it.
Yep.
Right? And so he says that, and then, there's another batter, like the game's continuing. And I thought to myself, I had a thought, like, I wonder if the catcher, I didn't say anything. Owen was there watching with me. Like, I wonder if the catcher would try to deceive the batter in that way. And that's the next thing this analyst brought to the table. His thought was, I loved it because I was thinking it. Like, he knows it's a strike. And if he reacts that way and the ump burns him, he's just going to challenge it. He's confident it's a strike. He's trying to trick the batter into burning a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the guy ended up bringing that to the table, and they talked about that for a few minutes. I'm like, we are in a whole new world. Like, pitch framing to deceive the batter. So not to try to deceive the umpire into calling a strike. Like, I know this is good. I'm just going to move my glove, and maybe I'll get this guy to burn a challenge.
And
I thought that was really interesting, and I wonder, the fact that the analyst brought it up makes me think, like, that it's something that's happening.
I think it very well could be. I think a catcher has to be careful. He has to know the umpire. It might be a catcher that's been around, because umpires don't want you to overdo that.
Right.
Like, the whole premise of this started with framing, and now that we had the technology to tell a ball from a strike, catchers who were realizing they were way more valuable than baseball thought because they were stealing. Russell Martin was stealing all these strikes. And, like, how does that look on an ump? They look bad,
Right.
I mean, when we grew up watching baseball, the players themselves, nobody cared about the strike zone. They just cared about consistency.
Right.
Tony Gwynn would say it. Everybody would say it. All right, your strike zone is low and outside. As long as I know that and you keep it there, we're good. But to me, that was always silly. Why shouldn't it be letters to the knees over the plate?
Uniform, right.
Yeah, like, why does it have to? I understood it, but I never liked it because it should be the same all the time. So I think the catcher, I'm assuming you're right, and this announcer is right for saying all that. The catcher has to be careful that he knows who he's dealing with. And even, I think the catcher would even say that. Like, they would know each other, and he'd be like, this is something I do or might do, and it's not to make you look bad. I'm trying to get an edge.
Right, yeah. And, how valuable is that? Well, you burn your challenges, you get to the fifth inning, you're cooked. So this was early in the game, I'm pretty sure, and this kid, got duped. And, watching it, it's possible that he didn't even notice the glove and he just thought, no way, that's a strike. But it was so squarely in the zone that I think the action of the catcher is what got him to do it. And when the analyst said, like, that is one of the things that will get guys is if they see the catcher's glove move out of the, peripheral vision or whatever, that they'll think, oh, that wasn't a strike. And in this case, the guy just, I think where he moved his glove to still would have been a high strike instead of a low strike. But the fact that he moved it at all, I think was, maybe heady. So
you're not exactly, Josh Allen does a lot of things that he does to try to not work the officials, but to get calls. lower his head, get touched in the head, jump up, point at his head, all kinds of stuff like that. It's like flopping almost. Like, to me, doesn't look good on you. This is not gaming the official, though. This is gaming your opponent.
Right.
You're through the official, through the umpire.
Right.
And maybe that's a little different. But I like it. Imagine the Pirates will never stop being the Pirates. They lost again today. They're swooning, slumping. They picked up a relief pitcher from the Mets, Weaver. They haven't even used him yet because they're never ahead.
I should start counting. Skeens pitched last night.
Yeah. Oh, right.
A week from Saturday and Sunday, I'm in Pittsburgh to see the Red Sox.
Start to work on that. That rotation, that countdown. Sal Capaccio with us earlier today. Another day of Bills practice to discuss, including the kicker has been found. That's next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.